Yo, everyone, what is up? Fun Speculation is back again. Yes, this is 2 weeks in a row that we are officially back, and the times they are a changing. If you're an Xbox fan, as lots of things have been going on, and the stuff we talked about last week, we anticipated, but we actually have the final. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say final because who knows what's who knows what's going to happen
8-8
here.
final, bro.
Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But we have some answers finally as far as the huge shakeups and layoffs and everything going on with Xbox and Microsoft. So we're going to be obviously talking a lot about all that stuff that's been going on. As in a other turn, there was also good news if you're an Xbox fan today as well. And maybe if you're a PlayStation diehard fanboy, maybe bad news if you actually weirdly care about that stuff. But it's gonna be an interesting show today. We'll see all who makes their way around here to the with the Fun Spec fam. But as usual on a Thursday night, you guys were used to seeing Pong Soul and I here in the past for PM and the PM. A little bit different flavor, but we're here with Pong Soul, the encyclopedia of gaming dating back to the very first game ever created, who loves this industry so much. He loves the ever dynamic aspect of the constant change and excitement that happens within the gaming industry, as do I. But shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here again on another episode of Fun Speculation. Hey, Pong, what's up, man?
You come back and everything fucking falls apart. That's what happens, Mav. God, I said the F word again in the beginning of our show. You come back and everything falls apart. That's what's happened here, Mav. This is not good, sir. But it's, I'm happy because we got lots to talk about.
Yeah.
This makes the shows very easy when these weeks come around. It's not going to be pretty. Again, for those of you, and I saw some people posting publicly about this, for those of you that don't like criticisms, that don't like the talk about this kind of stuff and what it means, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows and unicorns, you might want to take off the next week and a half from podcasts. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We can't ignore this stuff. Like this is like, we talked about it forever, man. We've talked about it for years that this generation was going to shape the future of this industry. And we might have been wrong about the direction, especially when it comes to Xbox and how they switched up and what was going to happen there. But we were still definitely spot on that the changes that this generation was going to bring to the industry were going to shape the future, because that's what we're seeing right now. And no, it's not pretty. There's going to be a lot of negative shit. But there's also going to be some positives, like you said, Matt. There was something announced today for Xbox. Obviously, most of you probably already know that people said was never going to happen, and it did happen, and it does change things somewhat on the other side and how you look at what's going on. So we're gonna get into all that. As far as my week goes, again, I am super busy, but I've been jumping back. Look, I made a post. Call of Duty World War II dropped into Game Pass. I've been waiting for all the Call of Duties to drop in because I want to go back and replay campaigns. World War II, I'm a World War II nerd, have been since I was a little kid. I love the setting. I've never gotten sick of World War II. Okay, I know a lot of people are done with Call of Duty and hope Call of Duty never goes back to World War II again. I love that setting, and I love the campaign when I played it on PlayStation 4. I played a ton of the multiplayer in World War II as well. Loved the shit out of it. But I was more interested in going back and redoing the campaign on Xbox this time around. So I fired that up this week. And this, to me, and again, I am biased because of how much I love World War II, but this is one of their best campaigns to me. And I still love this campaign to death. So I just played like the opening and got through the first part, and it's just as fun. And had me smiling ear to ear and ducking as shells were coming inbound as we're landing on Normandy Beach, just like I did the first time I played it. It's really, really well done. And so really having a good time with that. Jumped into Mecha Break which just dropped it is an Xbox exclusive, console exclusive for the time being, as Steel has been pointing out to everybody. I jumped into Mecha Break. I'm not planning on spending a ton of time in this game. This is Steel's life right now, and I totally get why. Obviously, I love mechs too, and I love battling in mechs. But this is some hardcore PvP, man. This is some fast freaking action PvP. It's wild. I just played the intro because there is a whole single player section kind of training you in. There is a type of campaign that gets you into it, but the character creator is extremely well done. I spent like, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes in character creator. I could have spent more time in there as well. Obviously, if you guys have seen it, the aesthetics, as far as this is an Eastern style game, you're getting beautiful people in this game. You can create beautiful freaking people. So that is dope as shit. But the actual gameplay, the mech, like I said, I've only playing the intro mech, so I haven't even gotten to play the other ones. But we are talking about frenetic gameplay. Like, we're talking about fast freaking paced, like what you see in anime style mech battles. But you are controlling everything, and it's wild, and it's not simplified. It is complex. It is deep. Weapon systems, you can change out of weapons, all that good stuff. That is super cool. So go check out Mecha Break. It's free to download. They've got a actually get a perk right now too, with some skins and a bunch of shit from Xbox as well. Because like I said, this is an Xbox exclusive for the time being on console. So go check out Mecha Break. I think it's really cool, especially if you like mech warfare and you like fast-paced mech warfare. Go play it. It's worth the download. To check that out. Otherwise, Mav, I was on last weekend. I was on PC a lot, and I have a feeling that that's going to be more and more, obviously, as we get into next generation, especially if Xbox pulls off what they're going to do. But I picked up, because obviously Steam summer sale is going on right now.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't have PC, this is when people talk about the Steam sales, if you don't know what it's like, and I kind of knew, but never experienced it until I got my PC about a year and a half, 2 years ago, whatever it's been now. My God, man, it is very hard during their Steam, especially their big summer sales like this, to not drop and buy a bunch of freaking games when you already have a bunch of freaking games. So I picked up Stranger of Paradise, the Final Fantasy Origin. I've had that on my eye on that one forever, because I played the demo when it first dropped, and I actually enjoyed it. It's Platinum Games, if you guys don't know. This is a Platinum Games Final Fantasy.
Pure action game, right? Yeah.
Pure action game. This is where Square got the idea for 16 when they saw what Platinum did with this. I think that's where they got the idea that they could do it too. And don't get me wrong, again, the demo for 16, the action combat is very freaking good. It's not a straight up RPG. Although Stranger of Paradise already feels more like an RPG in some ways with the loot map, because you are constantly getting loot. It is like a looter in a lot of ways. You're constantly picking up loot. You're constantly you're getting new weapons, new armor, new all that shit. Really liking it. I picked it up for the whole entire deluxe with all the DLC for $20 on the Steam sale. So I played that last weekend, and I had picked up this earlier because I found a good deal through one of the key shops. But Munfish and what they showed during the Summer Game Fest got me so excited that I want to go back and play Atomic Heart. And so I picked up Atomic Heart through Steam for the PC, because I didn't play it on my PC. Obviously, I played it on my Xbox when it was in Game Pass. I picked that up for super cheap as well and started playing it. And my God, talk about a gorgeous game on PC. It was good looking on Xbox, but Mav, when you start seeing the reflections and the lighting on the PC, I was like, holy shit, this is really cool. So I started playing Atomic Heart as well. But that's kind of what I've been doing. I still got Stellar Blade out there. I got so much shit. It's crazy right now, but that's kind of what I did this past week. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I haven't done a lot of gaming. I've hopped back into I'm really into cars right now. Like I've gotten into this like car kit because there was a show that was made in Dallas years back called Fast and Loud with where they kind of redo hot rods and all this kind of stuff, and I don't know why, but we've just gotten on a kick of watching back all the old seasons of that. So I'm in this like car kick right now. So I've been dabbling a little bit in Forza Motorsport again here and there. I did pick up that Ninja Turtles game that just dropped on Xbox.
Oh, you did?
I haven't had a chance to launch it yet. I ended up installing it last night, but I'm looking forward to that. It's like a roguelite. Totally something that's been out on mobile before, but they made some good improvements for consoles. What I read in a lot of the reviews and stuff, so it's supposed to be a really good one. Luke Lore from Xbox Expansion Pass had made a post about it on his YouTube
Nice.
comment. So I saw that and I was like, if he likes it, he's a big Ninja Turtles guy. I am, and a lot of people are calling this like maybe one of the best Ninja Turtle games ever. So hey, I'm in for that. I love Ninja Turtles, so I went ahead and got that. I launched Warhammer 3 Reforged.
Nice.
Just to spend a few minutes to see how it looks and stuff. Rolling on there, it looks great. And other than that, just been dabbling in some just random games here and there, but not too much gaming again. We had so much going on right now. But yeah, man, there's some cool things to look forward to here coming up soon. In the gaming world, I think Tony Hawk launches later this month. So look forward to that. I need to get in on the Steam summer sales, man. I need to start looking through those because
there's so much.
Yeah, I want to get some stuff. I want to play Gran Turismo, man, but PlayStation just refuses to put that damn thing on PC. So,
I've been thinking about that too, man. But when I refired up Forza 2, because I did that a couple weeks, I still got it, but I dabbled in it again too. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, if they just put Grand GT on PC,
just fucking do it.
I'm in.
Yeah, I don't want to buy like a PS5 again just for one game. Kind of sick of doing that, but like I fucking want to. I'm so into the car shit right now. It's like I want to fucking play Forza. I want to play GT. I've been looking at the Car X game that's on Xbox. I was thinking about possibly getting that. Car X Street Racing, I think is what it's called. I think Steel had talked about that a while back, saying it was really good, but it has great reviews on the Xbox store as well. So if you guys got any recommendations for some car games, let me know. I'm in the market for some good racing games where you can do some really cool customization and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy bit of news right now. I'm going to start this with a bit of positive news because as two games that I was highly looking forward to just got canceled, there is one game that's been on my wish list that seems to have been resurrected. And that is, according to Insider Gaming, Call of Juarez. I don't know if you saw this, Pong, but
I did. I posted it in the DMs. Yes.
Yeah, it had come out that Techland had canceled 2 games, right? Don't know what those are.
No layoffs. They verified no layoffs.
Right. And it seemed like the focus is going to be put into the other game, but Insider Gaming put out that they are resurrecting the Call of Juarez franchise, which is my favorite Techland franchise. I've fucking loved the Call of Juarez games back in the day. So, hey, if I don't know what the other things they were making is, but I will greatly take a new Call of Juarez. There needs to be more Wild West themed games and stuff. I hope they don't do the whole like gangster era one again, that they did. I want them to go back into the Wild West and stuff, but we'll see where they go. But yeah, I really like Bound in Blood was just a fucking awesome game. So yes, I was excited about that. So
they are backwards compatible too, by the way, the 360 versions.
Yeah.
So
do they have any upgrades?
Yep. No.
HDR maybe or 4K.
I don't know. They might have HDR. I don't think they have 4K. They might have HDR, but they played really well, right? So I've got them all because I picked them up because I was like, oh hell yeah, we're good and good. Yeah. So I don't think they had big upgrades. So I think it was HDR. Maybe. Yeah.
Another, I forgot to mention another game that I had dabbled in, played a few matches of, was that Rematch, that soccer game, the 3-on-3. I think there's even a 5-on-5 version. I had tried some matches of that to see how it is. It's pretty good. It's like Rocket League in a way, but
that's what everybody said. It's Rocket League soccer.
Yeah, Rocket League, but which Rocket League is car soccer. Right, but this is just soccer, but it's still an arcadey way. I would like to see what they did with Rematch. taken into like basketball and football and baseball and stuff. I think they have
Well,
something
basically,
there.
you're getting Street, like almost like Street.
Yeah,
Evolved in a lot of
exactly.
ways.
But
You know what I'm saying?
the
Yeah.
way they have the controls and the teamwork with it and stuff, and how fast paced the matches go, I think that it would be cool for all the sports to have that, right? And yeah, like you said, it's kind of like going back to like NBA Hang
I
Time or
wish they'd bring that
Street
back.
or whatever, you know.
They brought back NFL Street. Oh my god.
Yeah,
So in.
yeah. Blitz.
Blitz. Yep.
Blitz was awesome, dude.
Blitz was dope as fuck.
But yeah, so there's
Cool.
let's get into the Xbox stuff. So now there's been the interesting thing with this, Pong, is when we get the negative news, we also get a lot of the answers we've been searching for a long time. Namely,
Even if we don't want them.
Yeah, even if we don't want the answers now, I'd rather it be a mystery forever, possibly. But one of the things that we have constantly speculated about in the last several years,
you're gonna start right here, aren't you?
one of the things we've been constantly speculating about. When are we going to see it? What is it? When is it going to come out? It's got to be ready. This is going to be an amazing thing because and we knew the studio was excited for it and all these other kind of things. What was the Zenimax Online game? What was it? And well, the day that we found out that it was canceled, we find out what it was finally. So we got a couple answers. We found out when it's coming, and that answer is never. But we also found out what it is that we're gonna get to miss out on, and I'm gonna read kind of exactly what it was. I have it in our DM somewhere. Yeah, here it is. The project at Zenimax Online. This is from Clobrel, by the way, who also got weirdly chewed out by somebody on Twitter. We'll get into that.
This comes later. From Bloomberg.
Yeah.
He's sourcing it from Bloomberg.
Okay. So yeah, source from Bloomberg. Yep. The project at Zenimax Online was a third-person online looter shooter. Not unlike Destiny. It had a sci-fi noir aesthetic, similar to films like Blade Runner, and placed a heavy emphasis on vertical movement. The game impressed Xbox executives earlier this year. Now it's canceled. So we got a couple answers there, Pong. How do you feel about what it was going to? First off, how do you feel about what they were making? Like, does that sound like what you were hoping for?
There was also more. Somebody else also posted about it and said, think Fifth Element size cities. With flying cars and everything.
Wow.
So any Fifth Element fans out there, you know what we're talking about here. Okay, man, we speculated on this nonstop what they were making. There was rumors there was an IP. We had gone back and forth. Was Star Wars? Was it Star Wars? Was it the Starfield MMO? We had guessed basically everything. The other guess was potentially a new IP. Like you said, sometimes it'd almost be better not to know.
Right.
Right? Because of how long we were anticipating this game for. I'm pretty numb right now because we'll get into the other stuff. But the one thing I did say, Matt, I think when we talked about this last week or maybe it was during the showcase, but I think it was last week. My biggest thing through all of this is that when there are closures or cuts like this is the lost IP that we're never going to get. And sure, if you want to say you don't know it was going to be good, it could have had massive problems. That's why you want to be on that side. I can't argue with you any more than you could argue with me because none of us know. But for me, it's the lost IP. It's what we could have had. When I hear this description for the Zenimax Online game that has been at the top of some of my most anticipated, when are we going to see this shit? This has been under wraps for 6+ years. Nobody has gotten one really clear leak on anything from this game. Like they were airtight on this shit. We kind of heard behind the scenes from pretty close to firsthand, if not firsthand, that they were really, really excited about what they had going on. And then to find out that we have a Blade Runner, Fifth Element, sci-fi noir aesthetic, again, not a genre we get a lot of at all. And it's going to be a freaking looter shooter map, which is one of my favorite genres on top of it. And you're going to have verticality coming from Zenimax Online, who has done wonders with, again, ESO. Yes, it's had its dips, but they took that to basically the most popular console MMO of all time. So this is a pedigree heavy studio who knows what they're doing. And I'm devastated, man. Out of all the cancellations that we've heard, right? This one hits the worst. It really, for me personally, again, Perfect Dark is bad. We'll get into Perfect Dark and all that kind of stuff. But for me, now knowing that this was what we were going to get, now hearing that not only the studio was super excited, that they had built a brand new engine as well, Mav, that also came out. They had built a brand new engine to get this game up and running because the current engines weren't working. And that the Microsoft exec teams had seen it and were happy and were excited about this game. This is again, we'll get into nitty gritty, but I got to say, this is when you're never going to convince me that this was like a quality control move. You never convinced me that this was thinking of the future of gaming and Xbox per se, making these types of cuts. This is a straight money cut. And I would lay down, again, without knowing, because none of us are going to know unless the full story comes out. But I can guarantee you, Mav, the problem with this game was going to be the upkeep, and the money people did not want to pay the upkeep for an MMO because they obviously know internally what it costs. They've got a bunch of MMOs, and they didn't want to pay the upkeep through the coming years to get this game going. So even if this game looked great, played great, everybody was excited about it, at the end of the day, all of this shit is money. And you'll never convince me anything different.
Yeah.
This is all strictly business, money-making decisions right here. That this is one right here was because the upkeep was going to be so much for an MMO to continuously produce, obviously, continuous content, updates, and all that. We all know. None of us are stupid. This is not anything new. We know these games cost a lot. I can guarantee you that's what cost this game specifically. It's life. Like that is it. But it's devastating, man. I'm devastated about this one. This is oh man.
This is so. Yeah, I mean, that was going to be my next question to you is like, why do you think they chose that one? Because like it seemed like everything was so positive with it, and like the excitement from the developers that was going on behind the scenes about it, the amount of time that they spent on it too. I mean, like that's the one thing I'll never agree with was when they like cancel these games like I'll say late in the game of development for these things too. Like this had to have been something that would have been if next year probably. I would have assumed, right? Yeah. And because we've been speculating on it coming out the last couple years, and it's been something that was already kind of in the works during the acquisition, right?
2018 has started.
Yeah, so we're like 7 years into development now, you know, like I understand it's a big undertaking making this kind of game, but that also kind of made it probably why they're so excited about it, having to make all the new tech and everything for it.
Yeah.
The way that they talked about it originally being the biggest thing they've ever done and all this other kind of stuff. Part of it maybe because it was gonna be a new IP as well. Maybe they didn't have as much faith in that because of that for whatever reason. But man, I think about the potential for something like that, and with Xbox's support behind it, if they would have went it all in on it instead of canceling it, like it could have been amazing. Late in the game, I never understand these cancellations as much as I do early, because you've already spent the bulk of all the time for the development and researching and engine building.
It's the full write-off. It's the full write-off, man.
Yeah. It's
like I agree with you, but the money men, it's a full write-off.
Seems like so short fucking sighted, you know? Like I get like business wise, like, hey, the hardest part is actually building it from the start. Yeah, I understand the cost of maintaining, but
Yes.
that's something you can also kind of dictate after it launches about the amount of players you have supported, how much support you go into going forward. Are you making money? Are you losing money? But with spending and dumping that much money into something for so long, to not even give it that chance to even see, because who knows? It could have been the biggest thing they've ever made. Like it
I
could
think
have
this would
come
be the
out.
regret. Yeah.
It could have come out and ended up being like one of the top MMOs in gaming or something that just really explodes into another massive, huge franchise and IP opportunity that they can make shows and movies on and make more games based off. Like, who knows? Because if you spend that much time on it, like, and they were excited about it, you got to think about this wasted potential. And that's the thing when you cut these games like late in the game like this, and you exit when stuff seemed positive still. It's like wasted potential for the sake of short-term gains, short-term, like you said, write-offs, and with that, with the fear of like, hey, we want to manage our expenses here. What's going to be expensive going forward? Well, let's look at this. Hey, if we cut this, we can also get this much money with or whatever. And it's like, come on, let's actually stick to your guns a little bit about the vision that you had. And if you got something that seems close to the finish line, let's not let that one go. You know what I mean?
And I think ultimately too, Mav, to kind of add to what you were talking about there as far as the new IP aspect goes, I think on top of the maintaining cost, which I think is,
Yeah.
again, in my opinion, it's just an opinion, but whatever. I think that was probably the overarching factor in this. But I do think also, and there's a bigger general there's a concept that's happening within contraction, specifically within Xbox and what they've been doing for the past 2 days. There is an overriding kind of thing as well that they are getting, and again, this is where we get into kind of the negativity, is that they are trimming out the fat, Mav.
Yeah.
They are trimming out. They are making decisions about how big they want their teams. And you
Mm-hmm.
got to remember, Zenimax Online already has ESO, which is a
Right.
big team to continuously put out content. They are making these numbers decisions as well because they are going third-party publisher. This is a lot like Ubisoft. And yes, I understand, and I still believe that they're going to make a console next gen. I still believe the hardware will come. Is it less sure than I was 2 days ago? Yeah, but at the same time, I still think it's gonna happen. But ultimately, they see themselves as a party publisher, and in order to be a highly profitable third-party publisher, you can't have bloat everywhere, and that, to them, to the money people, to the people at the top, the non-gamers, that also means a game, an unproven new IP game, which is also going to require constant updating. It's going to require a constant team running on it. They look at that and go, yeah, like you said, Mav, that number one is too big of a risk. Number two, that eats the bottom line from somewhere else. And we don't want to have that cost continuously from that team because we've judged that team to be of a certain value, and that's not where it's going to be at, even if that game were to be successful. Right. So that's how they kind of make these decisions. And they are trimming the fat. They are getting lean and mean to be a third party publisher. And that means, in a lot of ways, and we'll talk about it, to me, a lot less diversity in lineups, a lot less, taking chances on smaller new IP like we've seen them do with games like South of Midnight, etc. They're going to look more like a 2K. They're going to look more like an EA. They're going to look more like an Ubisoft than they did as Xbox. Oh, the first party, we need to put out exclusives. We need to bring people into our ecosystem, as an exclusive and kind of battle Sony. That's gone now. So now we're going to get into this. We're going to produce for sure things. We're going to make for sure things. And we're going to have these teams now downsizing. And let's not forget too, Mav, AI is also involved here heavily. They are forecasting, as I brought up last week, they are forecasting how many people they can get rid of where AI can already replace their jobs. Because we also found out, I think it was this week or last week, that Microsoft Corp is mandating that all their teams use AI now. It is a part of everybody's performance review now that they use AI. They are all in on AI. So if you don't think that they're not going to make the dev team start using AI, you're crazy. Of course they are. So I think that's a part of it too. Sorry,
Yeah.
I kind of went off.
No, you're fine, man.
that's
Yeah, I
part of
don't know. Like AI is like for me, it's like this trendy thing, and we'll see what happens. I understand the whole all tech
Yeah.
industries are going this direction and stuff, but like
Absolutely.
so was Meta. Remember that? The term meta that was going
It's
around
the
to
new
everybody.
shiny ball,
Yeah,
man. It's
exactly.
new shiny. And we could talk about that when we get into the
NFTs,
big overview.
like
Right, we could talk about that, but Microsoft has invested so
Yeah.
heavily, Mav. Again, gaming was the shiny ball during the pandemic. Gaming became the shiny ball. Oh, we can make a ton of money off of gaming. Let's invest heavily. This is Microsoft's MO, no matter who has been in charge of the company. This is what I've always talked about too. They have a history. It might not be as bad as Google is dipping their toes in, but they have a history of trying the latest and greatest thing. And gaming was the shiny little ball that they were like, holy shit, yes, this is going to be the way forward. We can advertise our cloud with it, all that kind of stuff. In the middle of the pandemic, as they're buying up all this gaming stuff and giving Phil basically an open blank check, including ABK, the biggest deal in Microsoft's history as a corporation, well, all of a sudden now here comes along AI, Mav.
Yeah.
Now AI is booming. Now AI uses the power of the cloud as well to train all the LLMs, right? The large language models. They're going to use the cloud to do all that shit. Oh, now AI is the big thing. Now we're partners with OpenAI. Now we're dropping 80 billion into AI. And all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, gaming, what do you do? You're not growing. Wait, what do you mean we didn't hit 100 million subscribers in Game Pass? What? Oh, Phil, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's working out, Phil. Doesn't look like it's working out, Phil. But we got our new shiny ball over here. This is going to work out. That happens a lot in these big giant corporations, not just Microsoft, but Microsoft doesn't have a history of doing this. Again, cell phones, laptops, go down the list, right? They've tried a bunch of different things. So I think that's kind of where they're at as well.
Yeah. Crazy, man. I mean, a lot of impacted. The other one that was for me, as far as news wise goes, was the biggest cancellation was Perfect Dark, which ever since it was announced officially has been one of my top anticipated titles, because just that genre I love the style of Perfect Dark. I love the idea of bringing that franchise back. It's one of those franchises that everybody wanted to come back. It was like one of those requests that constantly was made, going back to last generation and even the generation before. It's like, bring back Perfect Dark, you know. And you know, the last time we got a Perfect Dark was launch time of the 360, Perfect Dark Zero, so it's been dormant for a very long time. I remember when rumors started swirling about them bringing back Perfect Dark was around the same time the rumors started swirling about them bringing back Fable. And then we had actually got announcements of both of those games. And I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, Perfect Dark's gonna be awesome. Just last year, we saw that gameplay slice at the showcase of Perfect Dark, which has had some controversy of its own now that's been kind of explained. I don't really look too much into that. I don't remember who it was that was trying to portray that as some kind of fake ass thing.
From Kotaku.
Oh, okay. They're going away now, so we can all celebrate. So
and then Dring also backed it up.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, like when you see these like vertical slice demos or whatever, like it's obvious what it is. Like it's kind of a target, you know. That's like it was never something that was really kind of.
And this one wasn't outrageous either, Mav.
No,
this one wasn't like outrageous. And they confirmed now that one of the developers did confirm that a lot of it was gameplay. It was based upon the engine. They just had a very specific
vertical slice.
They had a very specific way it had to be played in that level. If you didn't
Mhm.
play it the way that the person that was demoing it did, then it didn't work because they didn't have all the background AI
Yeah.
set up and all that kind of
They
stuff.
said the
So it was a very
animations were
specific.
real, and it's a lot of different
The
stuff. Like,
mechanics were real.
yeah,
Yep.
so like it is what it is. That all controversy
Mhm.
stupid to me. But the yeah, just being excited after seeing it last showcase, last year, and then now to have not only that game canceled, but the initiative is officially closed. Um, and it just sucks, right? I think this is one that's just I've been looking forward to all generation, and to see it come to an end like this one is a little bit different than the Zenimax Online one because we actually knew what it was, right? We've seen the
Yep.
game as well. So for me, it hits a little hard on that, just not being able to get Perfect Dark because of how excited I was for the potential of that game and that franchise going forward. And what does that mean for the franchise going forward beyond this point? Who knows, right? Maybe it'll never come back again, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, the initiative closing sucks. It doesn't hit as hard as like if it would have been like a studio where we've actually played their games before, right? But a team that's been working on games on this game now for 5-6 years, I guess, something like that, to not be able to see it get to the finish line again is something that's like very disappointing. Again, cutting more late in the game, as I said, cutting your losses. I don't know what kind of condition or shape it was in to be able to potentially release next year. As I think that's what they were.
Paging Matt Booty.
Yeah,
Paging Matt Booty.
I think that's what they're originally envisioning. Yeah, I remember years ago that being playable in some form or fashion, like supposedly, right? But yeah, it's kind of it sucks, for me, like the game cancellations, in studio closures are what hit the hardest. Like the layoffs aspect, you can still retain a studio and get back on track and kind of rebuild things up and hire again once you get a new project going and all these other kind of things. But when you either lose a studio or lose an actual game that's been in development for a long time you've been excited for, those are the things that kind of hit the hardest when there's like news like this. That being said, there's still a lot to look forward to and tons of games to look forward to. They still had, I think I said they have over 40 projects in development. So the people saying for now, yeah, they'll dwindle down a little bit here and there, right? But
Yeah.
there's still plenty to look forward to from a lot of the Xbox teams. But these ones, those especially specifically Zenimax Online and the Perfect Dark game, those ones are the ones that kind of hit the hardest for me. Initiative going away, it doesn't hit the same as like necessarily like, okay, if Obsidian went away or if like Turn 10 went away or something like that, which they did get hit by layoffs also.
Still sucks.
But it does suck. Yeah. But yeah, man, Perfect Dark. How does that one sit with you? Is it about the same as how you feel about Zenimax, or does this one hit a little bit less hard for you? Or
it was the same until I found out what Zenimax was actually working on, and then Zenimax went above, right?
Above it.
Bro, way above it because it's a looter shooter, because of the setting. Yeah. Everything I described before. But no, Perfect Dark was so high on my list. And like you said, Mav, as far as what was shown to us, again, there's even Steel and I are gonna have an interesting, although I'm kind of over it at this point. Steel and I also have an interesting discussion on Saturday because Steel's one of the people who just didn't believe that it was going to be anything good anyways. So whatever. For me, when I saw Perfect Dark, it's exactly what I was looking for. And again, this is goes back to what I just said and what we've been talking about, man. It's the loss of the IP, because no, I don't believe they're ever going to come back to Perfect Dark. I just don't. If I had to place a bet, it's an opinion, it's not a fact, but I just don't. This is again was a chance for one of those IPs to come out of the closet, Mav, and actually get a fresh start again. And that's now gone. And to me, this just absolutely sucks because this was a spy espionage game. We don't get that genre anymore from AAA developers. This is why I have such a hard time with these, because this again was another one of my favorite types of games, right? We get the we don't get spy espionage anymore. We talk about Splinter Cell all the freaking time. We talk about Alpha Protocol, a broken RPG from Obsidian because Sega didn't give them the time, and yet I still love it to this day, and it's one of my favorites from Obsidian because it was a spy RPG. And what I saw from Perfect Dark and what they showed us, even if it was a target, but it looked like I said, it wasn't some outrageous thing like Ubisoft and Watch Dogs, like they or Ubisoft and The Division when they first showed us that. This didn't look like some crazy, oh, they're never going to be able to pull this off. That looked very close or realistically to what they could do. Now, you could again, I'm not going to argue with you if you're on the side that says, well, everybody's reporting this was in development hell, that internally the game wasn't playing that well. They've had all this time to complete it, and they didn't get it done, so it had to be cut. You don't want them putting out another Redfall. You can be on that side. I'm not going to change your mind, anything I say, but that's speculation too, as much as what I believe it could have been, which I think had they been given the time, Microsoft, Xbox gave all these other studios all this time, right? And let all these other studios piddle around and play around and finally put out a game. But why couldn't you let this one with one of your IPs, one of your big IPs everybody wants to see come back, and you saw the reaction to it after that showcase. Anyways, in my belief, had they even gotten close to what they showed us, Mav, this was everything I did want out of a Perfect Dark game. So nobody could tell me this wasn't what you wanted or this you weren't going to get what you want. No, this is what I wanted, what I saw. If they came close to that showing, this would have been the Perfect Dark game I wanted. And it was great to see Joanna back in action again. And so, again, just another lost IP. And I'm afraid this is one of those IPs that goes back into the closet and never sees the light of fucking day again. Because, like I said, in my eyes, what they're doing right now, Xbox is trimming out. We're not going to see them go back into the vaults and pull out a bunch of IP anymore and start up new teams and start creating this shit again. This was the chance, man. This was the chance because their vision was so big for what Game Pass was going to be. Their vision was so big for what they could do with the consoles that I think the initiative closing, Perfect Dark being canceled, back in the closet, I think it just kind of encapsulates what we are going to see from Microsoft and Xbox going forward. They're not going to take another chance bringing back stuff like that. And so it's lost. It's lost to time. And we'll never know. We'll never know whether it was going to be shit or whether it was going to be good. We'll never know. But I trusted the team that was on it. I trusted the leadership there. So in my opinion, it's a loss. And it sucks. So
yeah,
this one was bad. Yeah.
So, and also there's Everwild. I mean, we thought maybe it was going to end up happening this year because earlier on January 1st, they had made that New Year's post that had the Everwild stuff. I don't see
February said it was looking great.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of people screaming too upset about it. You know what I mean? But it does suck for Rare still to be putting that amount of time. I think one of the head guys at Rare ended up leaving too.
The guy, the most tenured guy, I forget his name, 30 plus years at Rare, the most tenured gentleman there, supposedly kind of the glue for that entire building. Yeah, he's gone.
I wonder if it was his idea to build the greenhouses.
I'm really glad they got their solar panels, and I'm glad that they had so many team outings and parties that they constantly posted on social media.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see Everwild. What they showed us from Everwild had me curious. I love the art direction. I thought it was gorgeous. But after a while, again, I don't have the same feeling for this one at all because after a while,
we never knew what it was really.
Harsh.
Yeah,
I've been pretty harsh on Rare. Again, they got Sea of Thieves, which was their golden ticket, but I really feel like the Everwild team took full advantage of that. And I really, and again, from the outside looking in, I'm not there, but I really felt like they took advantage of the Sea of Thieves golden ticket. And I felt like that they were not, I just felt like they could have been doing more. They should have been heads down. There shouldn't have been all this posting about solar panels. There shouldn't have been all this posting about team parties. For a while, there was almost every single week they had postings of pictures of people hanging out outside. I would like to see more heads down, but again, I'm not there. I don't know. Maybe they were all just crunching and they were trying to get their shit together and they just couldn't pull it together. But this one doesn't hit as hard because we didn't know really what it was. Although, like I said, I was excited about the art style. I thought it was gorgeous. I thought it had something there beautiful. But at the end of the day, this one was, you've been working on this game for 10 fucking years. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, we got that. This one was life support. I think that you had to pull at some point. So.
Yeah.
Again, we'll never know. Phil said it was looking great. We'll never know. Again, if you want to pin me down as a gamer, it's still another lost IP that absolutely would have loved to see what they could do with it if they were ready to show it and what they were going to turn it into, because Phil said it looked good. I don't think Phil was lying, right? Again, there's a lot of people claiming Phil's lying about this shit, but I don't think Phil's lying. I think he did see something at Rare and thought it was looking good. But we'll never know.
Yeah, another money cut at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So 50% of Turn 10 was laid off. We talked a lot about the possibility for this last week. Fuzzy actually kind of called this. He said he's expecting about half of Turn 10 to be laid off, I think is pretty much what his direct words were. But, you know, again, you still retain the studio. I don't know if that's just size of it, you know, where they're at in development and also what they need going forward for the support on that game. I kind of had a little bit of talk about it last week of what I'd like to see going forward for Forza Motorsport, and them kind of reemphasize putting some energy back into it a little bit because I love it so much. But yeah, we'll see how that impacts things going forward. The studio's not closed. They still see value in them for now. And usually when they do this, they tend to rebuild these studios too when they have different projects and stuff too. So I don't know exactly what the shakeout's going to mean there, but I think they maybe just didn't deliver exactly what they had hoped for, and they're going to be looking forward to reshaping it a little bit. That's kind of, it reminds me a little bit more of what happened with 343, with Turn 10 losing half their staff.
This to me, Mav, is the biggest sign of what's going on and who's calling the shots. You have a team that
one of the best
the crown away.
Yeah,
took the crown away
franchises
from Gran
ever.
Turismo.
Yeah,
one of the best franchises ever, and literally, they are asked to change their game into something that it wasn't before. Completely. They go in a new direction, build out a new next gen engine, and do all this work on it. And yes, the game comes out lacking, of course, 100%. Gave them smoke for it. There was no excuses behind that, whatever. But this is a team that has produced for you award-winning racing game titles, which maybe aren't the greatest things like slice spread anymore. Car games haven't been the biggest thing, but they took the crown away from your main competitors, one of their best teams, and a team that had decades more experience in racing games, and they took that crown away and gave you the best car franchise, generally speaking, according to the majority of people. Not everybody, but the majority of people would say Forza was a better overall experience than Gran Turismo was. And they have one bad release and you cut them by 50%, bro. One of your best, most storied teams. This has it written all over it, Beth. This has, what have you done for me lately, coming from the money guys, coming from the shareholders. Like, they're not gamers making these decisions, looking at their team and going, yeah, you guys love the past 7, but yeah, this one right here didn't cut the mustard. So 50% of you gone.
Yeah.
No, sir. I don't agree with this one at all.
We'll see what happens in the future with this. I wanted them to keep everybody and just double down on what they have. Like, I think they have a platform there that they can build on. They just need to bring some excitement back. Because if you play Motorsport right now on Xbox or on PC, wherever you play,
it's freaking fantastic.
It is fucking incredible. It's missing a little bit of like soul in the menus and stuff like that.
You and I have talked about this personality. GT has a personality to it.
It just needs a little bit more personality and forward-facing community stuff, you know, that's like right there when you open up the game, stuff like that, right? But like when you're on the track
Racing wise,
and all that. Like there's no game for me that compares to Forza Motorsport. That includes GT7 or any other racing game out there. Like as far as grabbing a controller and just hauling ass around a track, it feels good, looks good, plays great. Like it's just amazing, and it's so smooth, man. Like they really, all the extra work they put into it after development, after launch, and everything is just really showing. I kind of wanted a relaunch of it, giving it that soul, that a little bit, and the menus and the other systems, but we'll see. Maybe they're on to start working on the next one, or maybe they're going to just keep working on supporting this and see what they pull off. But we'll see what happens in the future with Turn 10. Also, let's see. We had the King layoffs, Zenimax hit with layoffs. We already talked about the Zenimax Online game. Raven and Sledgehammer hit with layoffs. These kind of things aren't really surprising because these are like, the looking at the larger entities, you know what I mean, and trimming, like we said earlier, they're trying to look at it sucks to say the cold calculated term, trimming the fat, right? They want to get lean and mean. See, Blizzard was hit with layoffs. 50% of the Xbox user research team laid off. I can get behind this one. I'm sorry. Like when we look at bloat and stuff, market research, focus groups, all that kind of crap. You know what I mean? I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs, but if you're looking to have to trim the fat as far as what stuff is provided for gamers, I'd rather the creatives lead the way, not user research. Right? So just me as a gamer, I've talked about this numerous times, wasted money, and a lot of times the user research and stuff is what leads into a lot of these games getting canceled or kicked off to begin with stuff like Ubisoft, WB Games, chasing trends and all that kind of stuff. For whatever it's worth. Okay, 50% of that team laid off. Up to 9,000 employees at Microsoft parent company could be laid off. All of the Xbox Game Showcase 2025 titles are safe. State of Decay 3 and Undead Labs are safe, supposedly. And 40 plus games are in development at Xbox Game Studios, according to Phil, and he's excited about the momentum.
And then whatever. Okay, Phil. Again, whatever. And we also found out today, they were funding a John Romero Studios first-person shooter, brand new first-person shooter, which they pulled the funding for.
Yeah.
So John Romero Studios laying off a bunch of people as well. That one sucks ass. Anybody who knows John Romero and his work, doing an original first-person shooter with that squad over there, making a video game would have been pretty dang cool, man. That's gone. And Bethesda lost funding for multiple projects as well. They had more projects in the works too, across their studios, and that was pulled as well. No details as far as what those projects were, but those are also.
Could that have been Hexen?
Could have been. Could have been Quake reboot.
Something that would have been from, that's id side before, maybe something like that. Just hypothetical. Supposedly, some of the former devs at Halo Studios also said that they've been laid off. We haven't had like specific numbers of. I'm sure there's several studios that have had some layoffs within Xbox Game Studios that we don't know exactly how many laid off. But I think what's been making the rounds is mostly some of the bigger things that have happened. Also like it seems when things like this happen, like Xbox within Microsoft, as they're doing the rounds of layoff type things and all that other kind of stuff, all this stuff kind of hits at once, right? Which is it's always like way more impactful, it seems like. Whereas like you have like PlayStation that will be doing, okay, this news happened this month, then another month this other bad news happened, then another month this other bad news happened, this other month this other bad news happened, which has happened a lot this past year for PlayStation. They've had a lot of game cancellations, they've had a lot of layoffs, a lot of different things. The Xbox
Talked
is
about all of
like
them.
Xbox is like, hey, all the insiders, there's going to be this massive thing happening in a few weeks, and then we're all waiting for it, and then it comes down. It's like all these changes
It's
at
actually bigger.
once seems like so much like of a bigger thing too. If you add it all up, it's probably not too much drastic difference from what some of the other studios around the industry have been doing and changing. But when you have it all at once, it just has such like a whoa, you know.
And just the size of
Yeah.
Xbox.
Yeah, too. It's
Again,
gonna
they're
be
one of the world's largest third-party publishers, right? So, if not the world's largest, Ubisoft might still outdo them employee-wise, but they are like up there. They're like top 3 for sure in terms of just sheer size map. So when you're
yeah.
talking about that, their cuts are going to be bigger, just numbers wise, and that's what hits, right? And you're right, they do things seemingly all at one time and don't space shit out. Um, but again, that just goes into that's why they're a $3 trillion
Right.
corporation, Microsoft, and this is Microsoft. Again, we always like to think, but Xbox has now been absorbed into Microsoft. Phil is the head of Microsoft Gaming. Xbox is now at the table, so this is Microsoft Corp. And again, this is where they get their valuation from, right? And this is why they're a $3 trillion company on their way to 5 trillion potentially. Like again, the investors are talking about this. This is what happens, man. It's business. They just don't care. But that's why
Yeah.
it seems so much bigger, Matt, because they have so much more than everybody else right now. So much more. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are saying, "Well, this is what happens with consolidation and all these other kind of things and all that stuff." You know,
Contraction.
it's
This would have happened without it.
it's
A lot of these studios would never have survived. I hate that argument.
me too.
Again, that is we're business experts. Nobody else is business experts, according to these people that talk like this. And this is only happens because of Microsoft buying all of these
Some of these
studios up.
some of these publishers may have
studios
been
would
just
not-
gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Gone. They would never have survived. Some of these projects never would have been greenlit underneath independent studios as they were.
Mm.
Some of these, and they always leave that part out of it. They just act like Activision Blizzard, of all places, would not be making cuts. They were making cuts before Microsoft came along. Right, my God, this is like crazy talk that it's all because Microsoft bought them. Hell no. Hell no. Look at Sony bought Bungie. Look what's happened to Bungie. Bungie's a shadow of its former self. This happens
And they had to sell to
everywhere.
survive. That's why these studios are sell
Correct.
stuff in the first place.
Bungie would have been under because they were cooking the books the entire freaking time. Come on.
So
man.
it's
so
there's a lot of those takes like that go on, and it ultimately it sucks. I think that a lot of the decisions they make at times like this, I don't agree with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I obviously it's not what I would choose as a gamer. And somewhat understanding what people are looking forward to and wanting to play. You know, like that is some of the moves they make. I can't get behind, right? So it's like, yeah, it's going to be criticism there. As far as the general overall, hey, big corporation needs to or feels the need to, doesn't actually need to, but trim down things in order to streamline their businesses and increase profits and all that kind of stuff. There's no argument anybody can make with that. That's big business. That's the way it's always been. And we can argue against it and fight against it and try and rally against it all we want to, but it doesn't necessarily change. And that's just the way a lot of these big publishers are run anyway, even without being owned by a bigger corporation like Microsoft, right? We've seen it time and time again from all these different publishers the last couple of years as the industry has gone through a massive amount of change. And that's going to continue. And that's kind of, we look at this too, and it's like a lot of people are blaming the business model of Microsoft and the direction that they're going and all that kind of stuff. I don't really necessarily think that goes hand to hand with what some of these moves were. This was more of an overall just money thing to me. It seemed like coming down from the top and having to pick and choose and ways to get to a certain point. But the decisions that they made on what to do to get to that point is where it's like, okay, yeah, I don't agree with that one. I don't like that. Like, give me Perfect Dark. Give me the Zenimax Online game. Let's see what all these years of development and time and effort and passion that these devs have been putting into it could have been. Let's see what it could have been. Let's give it a chance before you pull it, you know. So
Yeah, and honestly, if it looked like Redfall, it looked like Redfall, and then
right,
yeah,
and
no,
we'll never know.
we said all along, no, we said all along, you can't let Redfall happen. You can't
Yeah.
let a Redfall come out in the state it did, right? We talked about that at length when it happened, right? Absolutely 1000%. But if you read Phil's statement, Mav, if you read Phil's statement about, again, this is a restructuring
Yeah.
of the org. And again, I hate these statements because it's all
Mhm.
just corpo speak bullshit at the end of the day, because they're still freaking making record revenue
Yeah.
and
Which he
profits
emphasized
every single
also
month.
in the yeah.
But they always say, "Oh, but we're looking towards the future. We got to make sure we continue to do that." Yeah, because your shareholders are demanding more. It's not okay to stay the same. Even making profits, your profits can't stay the same in any of these corporations. This is why you see it across the board. We're going to get to Sony. This is why you see the decisions that they're starting to make. This is why Hiroki Totoki basically said the same thing when he took over for Jim and walked through the studios and said, "Yeah, you're all great at creating games, but you all suck at fucking business." Right? This is the industry because the shareholders demand more and more and more. And Phil's statement alluded to that fact that that's exactly what's happening here is we have to look to the future. And yes, again, everybody, I can't say it enough times. A part of this is Microsoft and the AI initiative that they currently have going on. The AI is replacing jobs in the tech industry already. It is going to replace jobs everywhere in the next 5 years max. We're going to see a lot of people lose their jobs because of AI. But right now, the tech industry and Microsoft, with how much they invested in it, yes, they are forecasting, doing the crystal ball, and replacing people already with AI, saying, yes, we can replicate their work through AI, or we only need what we had a team of 5 people doing this one thing. One person plus AI can now do the work of those 5 people, right? They are doing that as Microsoft Corporation. So part of that, including through Xbox, is that's why there's so many cuts here as well. It just is what it is, man. So sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's not a whole lot to say. It sucks that we're losing some of these games. I feel bad for anybody who got laid off. Sucks for them. Hope they find jobs. Same with anybody that outside of gaming too. Any of the Microsoft employees that were laid off, or any employees for any of these companies that were laid off. It's not just a Microsoft thing. It's not just an Xbox thing. Especially with this, there's probably, I don't know how much of the layoffs are actually Xbox comparatively to the rest of Microsoft as well, because I'm not seeing in the world that we're in with gaming, I'm not seeing the news on that stuff. You know what I mean? As far as like what other parts of Microsoft have had the massive layoffs, right? We were focused on the gaming, the studios that we know, and the games that we were looking forward to, right? So yeah, but there's more to this than just the Xbox side. Anybody who lost their job with all this, that sucks. Hope they find one. It's not an exclusive gaming problem here whatsoever. So, but yeah, this was a gaming podcast, so that's what we're going to talk about, right?
Of course. Yeah. If we were talking about those other fields, we'd be talking about the same shit, right? So it is, but no, we're focused on the gaming side of things. Man, I don't know if you're going to bring this up, but real quick, I wanted to ask you a question, right? Because you kind of alluded to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In their statement, they said anything that was shown at this last showcase was safe.
Right.
Okay. Let's take them at their word, which we know isn't the greatest. So we'll just take them at their word for now.
Safe for now.
Okay? Safe for now. I want to know from you personally, do you have fear of the games that weren't showing this showcase? Do you have fear of a Fable? Do you have fear of a State of Decay? Right?
Yeah.
Because those weren't shown in the state, and they didn't say, like, they could have easily, especially Phil, knowing how big Fable is to this, especially Fable to this community, bit easy for him to say everything in the showcase was safe, and also Fable's safe as well. Like, it would have been easy, but they didn't do that. Are you worried personally that some of the bigger games also on the horizon that weren't shown? I'm not even talking about the third party stuff like IO. If they were still working with IO Interactive, I think that's done. I think we're going to hear Contraband has been also canceled at this point. Supposedly, I didn't double check it, but the original trailer for Contraband has been privated by Xbox and no longer can be viewed. I have a feeling that all these side projects that they had, obviously we heard about Brass Lion, that they pulled the funding from Brass Lion. Brass Lion is now self-publishing that Wu-Tang game. So we're not even talking about the third party deals, but just internally, Matt, first party, Fable, State of Decay 3, those type of games. Are you worried about those?
I wouldn't necessarily like. I've been thinking about this because that statement about everything at the showcase, right, is safe. Like, what does that mean? Because I mean, they don't show every game at their showcases, so I don't like. A lot of people are gonna just read into that and be like, well, everything else is on the block, you know.
Sure.
And obviously, I don't think that means that specifically or anything like that. Like, I think Fable's too big for them. I think that they really want Fable to be a huge success. I think that they've shown it multiple times as well at this point. I think that one's probably good. I could be wrong. You know, I would have never seen all this coming, like with Perfect Dark, right? But yeah, as far as that one, I think it's pretty good. The Playground is also very like they're a home run team for them right now, right? Especially with Forza Horizon.
I will give you that.
And like that studio, I think is making enough money for them to justify whatever kind of cost goes into their experimental other thing that they have going on or whatever, you know what I mean? So and Forza Horizon 6 I expect to be next year also. So I think with that, I think we're safe on a Playground and Forza. Contraband, yeah, I think it's probably gone. You know, so some of these
for sure.
Some of these that are like that, I think are probably gone. Like, you know, State of Decay 3 wasn't shown. Crazy. But we've already had reports that they're safe or whatever. Xbox already announced they're going to be at Gamescom. They're going to show stuff there too. So we have Gamescom. I still think they're going to have a Dev Direct in January again. They're still going to probably show a couple things at the Game Awards again. So they've had a cadence of announcing things regularly now for a while. But the one game I've been the most curious about that keeps popping in my head is Blade.
Yeah. Thought about that today.
Because
what do you think?
I don't. Because of what's going on with the movie, right? As well.
Yep. Correct.
But it's like I think they probably have something good there. I remember early on in the development after stuff started coming out, like I can't remember who it was that maybe saw some of it or whatever, but like they were making good progress or that things looked like they were headed a good direction with that game and it was going to be pretty cool.
Right.
So I don't think Blade needs the movie to be successful or to be a hit. And also, like, what does the contract that they have with Marvel look like? You know, so they may not be able to cancel it, you know, so who knows on that. But yeah, Blade's an interesting one that has just popped in my head time to time because we just haven't heard anything about it since that Game Awards announcement.
I think their success with Indiana Jones could potentially help Blade continue forward with the license IP and how much attention it got, right? And how good it was.
Yeah, I don't think they want to piss off Disney with their other stuff either, you know, like.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So I think that I think Blade might be okay. Again, I don't know if I can say I'm sure on any of them right now. That's why I wanted to ask you, because I honestly can't. I was thinking about it today, and I was like, yeah, your point about Playground and how, you know, they're on the good side of things. They've had so much productivity and they've done so many great things. But to me also, if it's the money guys running the ship at this point, they might look at that like Sousa says, and Sousa, I see you in the chat, brother, and appreciate you being here. And I know you got very strong opinions on everything that's going on, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying, right? And I totally understand where you're coming from. But you might be right, Sousa. Sousa says that the Fable's going to come out, but it'll be the last Fable because you can't monetize it, and you really can't do what they kind of look at now from a money standpoint of what they want to do going forward. Because again, they're looking at themselves as a full-time third-party publisher, so it's different from when they were trying to push, you know, nonstop Game Pass and exclusivity to some degree. So it's different now. So when I see a game like Fable, if it's not in a good spot, Mav, and Playground, let's say Playground asks for another year or needs more time, I don't know. I don't know if they might just write it off and call it a day. If I had to bet, I will say Fable will come out. I will say Fable will come out. State of Decay 3, I think probably has to show. I think that's got a better chance because that's going to be a multiplayer game. Although we just saw what they did with Zenimax Online, but I think that they've got a history, so I think they might be okay too. But I would bet on that one not getting canceled next year. I think there might be more cancellations next year. I hate to say it because I don't want to lose more IP, but I'm just unsure. So I just wanted to know your opinion on it. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We're just gonna have to well.
yeah, it's been something I've been wondering. I mean, I think there's a lot of games that we don't know about. Obviously, also, I mean, we just found out about the John Romero game that was canceled. You know, so that it seems like also they had talked about in his post about that they hit all their deadlines and stuff. So that one may have not been that far away. Either that could have been a surprise game for 2026 for all we know. So who knows what else there is? I think they have more that may even be sooner that we don't even know about. I mean, look, this year they surprised us with like what 3 or 4 different projects and games.
Yeah.
So it's tough to say. Like I will say that I take them on their word that there's 40 plus projects currently in development. Does that mean all of them will survive? But also, I think there'll be new games kicked off as well. You know. So as far as like Xbox in general, just as a business and what they're doing and like the game, I don't think this is like them like, hey, we're gonna stop investing in games. It's not like anything like that. It's just like
they're gonna get more selective though.
They may be focusing on the bigger franchises and stuff like that as well. It's something that they've mentioned.
Do we get a return to StarCraft, right? Do
I hope
we,
so.
like at this point? I hope so, obviously. Hope so too, Mav. But where does that fall? That's gonna be, I guess, fascinating or interesting. I love the word fascinating, but that's going to be the thing to look to is like what projects we do see after we get through all the ones that we kind of know about, Mav, the new ones that are greenlit. That's where you're going to start to see if there is something to it where they're being very selective about what they are actually investing in, and if they are going to slow down on the number of projects that they invest in at any one point for Xbox, and kind of slow down and get away from that massive amount of games that we knew were actually in production, right? I mean, at this point, they say that 40 plus are still going. So from all the ones that have been canceled that we didn't know about too, I mean, you were looking at 50 plus, 60 plus game. Like there probably was that many deals out there. So I'm just curious where they're going to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting too because I think like just naturally what's going to end up happening is more games are on Xbox anyway too, supporting a lot of their features. And that's going to be kind of the selling point of the ecosystem, even so more than exclusive games, because exclusive games are meant to draw you necessarily kind of to a platform or a box or a service, but they're fine with selling you on Game Pass or just you buying the game. And if you have these extra features in their storefront, like the Xbox Everywhere stuff and stream your own game and all these other kind of things that a lot of these devs are going to start supporting now with the direction Xbox is going as far as their next generation and having their ecosystem kind of just be playable on any kind of device, right? I think just it'd be kind of become more like Steam, where you have just pretty much every game starts to become available and it has its own ecosystem features and awesome things about it. And Game Pass will be a part of it as an option, and you'll have your Microsoft and Xbox game studios made games, and you'll have some partnership games and stuff like that. But I think they're kind of going for the bigger picture here instead of just the old school methods, which is kind of like we said, the landscape changing. And it's interesting seeing like all these moves being made. I wonder what's going to happen the next few years as well with different publishers and potentially even more consolidation between them or more layoffs and cuts, and as all these big pubs start to trim their own fat as well. So yeah, it's just a very crazy dynamic time in gaming. Probably I would say this generation in general, like going into this generation in general, has had the biggest swings as far as growth and contraction, mainly because COVID was such an anomaly. Like COVID was such an anomaly, and then you also have tech getting to the point where it's changing the way the industry works as well. So we've reached to this point to where the whole industry is going through this just massive dynamic shift, and we're seeing the waves of it right now. And Microsoft is kind of the picture of it because they're the tech giant running things, and they've become the biggest publisher in gaming now. So, you have models changing for the way that games are distributed and accessed. You have platforms changing as far as what they're capable of, right? And as far as access to games, you have the ecosystems changing to where it's no longer about just boxes. It's more about access and content and IPs and stuff, but also the features that the ecosystem provides with that access. So it's like such a crazy time in gaming, man. But yeah, we had early this gen, it was like everybody's like buy, expand, buy. Publishers in trouble, acquire the studio, get things going. We went from the point where Xbox had five or six studios, right? Towards the end of last generation, they were down to about, it was 2016. I think they were down to about like 5 or 6 studios. And now 9 years later, they are the biggest publisher in gaming with, I don't even know how many damn studios they have now. One less. At least one less.
At least.
Right. But so many damn studios, so many games in development, so many projects that, like, for me, like, overall, it's just been this like wave of just craziness this gen, and like it's hard to figure out where things are going, because anytime anybody tells you anything about where things are going, things change so damn fast that you can't know what's actually going to happen. Like, I do think Phil and the team needs to stop doing damn interviews. Because like
there's no point anymore.
No, there's no point. If things change so fast and so rapidly, it like every time they say something or everything's this or that, it's like 6 months to a year later, the industry and their own decisions have changed so much that it's like everything that they just said that was a selling point for the future of the ecosystem is like, what is it now? That's all that matters, right? So, but I think ultimately, like, the next gen, like, they're all in on this plan for, the evolution of what Xbox is. We're still gonna get hardware, we're still gonna get devices, we're still gonna get consoles, still gonna get a shit ton of games. We're gonna have a lot of investment from Microsoft into gaming, and all that's gonna be accessed by us over the next several years, and we're gonna be eating good, right? But at times like this suck
when the wheels fall off, man.
The
wheels fall off. Like I said, I'll be here. I am going to be much more cautious, though, coming up in this next year or two, and just watching, because again, take it for what it is. There's a lot of massive changes going on, and what we see on the outside over the past couple days is probably only part of what internally is being discussed.
Yeah.
And again, Nate the Hate has a lot of connections, and Nate the Hate said internally it's a lot even more chaotic than what we're seeing. So take it for what it is. I'm just going to be a lot more cautious. Like, I want them to obviously put out this next gen hardware. I want this to come true, Mav, what they've been talking about with the Play Anywhere, with the unified UI across all devices, all that stuff we've been hyped for. But this is Microsoft Corp, and at any given moment, like you said, Mav, things can change on a freaking dime, and we've seen it. So again, just a little bit more cautious coming up, but I hope and I've got my fingers crossed, and I do believe that they're still going to have next gen hardware. They're going to give it a go. But at the end of the day, do I think they're going to stop making games? No, I don't think they're going to stop making games. So from that standpoint, there's still a ton to fucking look forward to, and I'm excited for that shit. And right now, Game Pass is still a thing. So again, till the wheels fall off, I'm here.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I'm kind of to the point too where it's like, what is Xbox hardware really? If everything can be Xbox hardware, like, what is, you know what I mean? Like, if they make all these changes to PC and all that kind of stuff, right? Like in our bedroom right now, we got a laptop hooked up to our TV, and we got an Xbox hooked up to our TV. But it's like if I just pop up the laptop and go to the Xbox thing, it's like not much different than going to the Xbox and going there. Like really, it's like the console is more
Yeah, no,
streamlined,
that's what they want.
but you have all the features that you have with the console as far as like party chat. You have your library of games, you have the storefronts, and their goal is to make that experience even more like the console, right? And if they keep doing that and they keep improving upon that, like next generation, Xbox launches their own devices, but like let's say just get like a PC equivalent to what that is, and then it's going to run like an Xbox if you can do everything else that an Xbox can. Like if I have access to every feature that an Xbox has, I can grab a controller and launch right into that Xbox mode. Like, what is at that point the difference? Is it just the branding on the box, like a more targeted optimization potentially for the developers? Like, but like PC games right now, like you can spend as much as you want and get as good a rig as you want, and you can play games that are way better than on console.
Ease of use, right? The ease of use. The
but that's what I'm saying. If that's if they achieve that, like that's
yes, right.
Like what?
That's what's going to be. But even on PC, you're still if you're running a straight PC, right, versus whatever they put out as their box, I still think the box can be optimized, and the box will be much more contained as far as what when you turn it on and it's one button in. Yes, the PC with the new UI technically could be that, but obviously for people who are console only players, they're still going to look at the PC. Shout out to Boomstick, who says he's never going to be a PC gamer ever. They're still going to look at the PC and say, I don't want all that shit. I don't want all the extra garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm never going to use it for all the other stuff, right? You know what I'm saying, Mav?
Yeah.
So they still
why they're going to make their own device.
Still going to be a purpose
to target.
Right?
They're just not going to take a loss on it, right?
No,
they're gonna sell those devices towards the hardcore console enthusiasts, for the people that want something like a console, and sell it to them. But for me, I'm like, if I have like,
no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like for me, like people are saying like, well, how are they going to get people to buy them and stuff? I see people talking in the chat and stuff, but like, if you already have a PC, which a lot of us do, then guess what? When you get an update on your Xbox software and you can launch into Xbox mode, guess what? They didn't have to sell somebody an Xbox. Their PC just became more of one, which it already is.
Right.
Like I can do, especially if they add the compatibility features that they're talking about and make it to where they can access the console library. Then like at that point, like everything really is like, if you have a good PC or whatever, that's an Xbox to me.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, and we'll see. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I can't wait to. That's the kind of stuff I'm really excited to see the reveals on hopefully over the next year, as they get into that. And I think maybe some of the stuff that they're gonna announce is gonna bring some of that excitement back again. Just like we had the news of when they had the AMD partnership announcement for we're making the next gen hardware and all that stuff. Like the community was on fire. Can't tell me Xbox didn't already know they're going to be making all these layoffs at that time. Like they obviously did. Like this was already all planned out, and they've been working on figuring out exactly who and what and everything.
They don't decide these cuts in a day. That's for damn sure. These type of cuts. Hell no.
What do they do? Take a fucking dartboard and be like, all right.
Maybe that is how they're doing it.
Zenimax Online. Sorry guys. Hey, we're canceling your project. You lost the game of darts.
Sometimes that's what it feels like. So.
It does. Perfect Dark. Oops.
Yep.
You're gone.
Oh, that's a bad one. Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, dang it. Sorry, Perfect Dark fans. Yeah, that one. Yeah, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of exciting things. But more evidence of the industry changing, Pong.
Yeah.
It's something else that happened today. That
of course it happened.
Shout out to Mr. Boomstick and everybody else has been saying that's going to happen. We've said it was a possibility that this is gonna happen.
It made sense.
But man, there's a lot of people that said this was never gonna happen.
Never, ever.
We found out Hiroki Totoki likes good business.
Oh, wait, you mean the things he's been telling everybody?
Yeah,
since he took over.
Exactly.
Everybody tells us we should be listening to the Microsoft CFOs and all that shit. Why aren't you all listening to Hiroki Totoki?
I haven't been really checking. Has there been meltdowns over this from the PlayStation side?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there are meltdowns, and they're actually honest. There are ponies, straight up ponies, saying now that yes, this means that PlayStation is now third party as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But there are
they saying there's
also
no reason to
many
own a
others.
PlayStation and stuff
No,
like
they're
that?
not going that far. Of course not. No, come on, man. Come on.
Are they saying that PlayStation's not going to be making hardware anymore in the future?
No.
Okay.
I've seen one say that he's going full PC next gen. He's not going to buy a PlayStation 6. I've seen one do that. But there are many, but there are also a whole group still moving the goalposts and saying, what? This is a games as a service game, technically speaking. So therefore, of course, it makes sense that they're going to put this on Xbox because you want the biggest audience possible to keep your games as a service going. And they already talked about they're going to put their games as a service on more places. So yes, this still doesn't count. That this is not a single player first party game. So therefore, they're still not third party, and this is not the same. So yes, there's still some of that too, for sure.
Yeah. Well, as far as what I'm referring to,
yep.
Helldivers 2.
Yes, sir.
Published by PlayStation. This isn't even the same situation as the original Death Stranding.
No. They own the IP.
They own the IP. This is published by PlayStation Studios.
Right.
Is launching on Xbox. And Arrowhead Games is excited to talk about it today. Yeah,
they are great at their marketing. They're great at
they are, man.
Freaking awesome.
And hey, what a crazy time, man. We got a couple of big franchises now, from PlayStation. And actually, their most successful game in a long time, Helldivers 2.
Their most successful multiplayer game in decades.
Yeah, and wasn't this like the game that like brought them the most like money last year or something? I can't remember. Yeah.
Because PC. Because PC PCs, the PC players are all over this. Absolutely.
So we got Helldivers 2 on Xbox, published by PlayStation. PlayStation is a third-party publisher now, and what's to stop them there? If Helldivers 2 does well on Xbox, why would they stop there? Right? It's crazy how people remember all the arguments. It's so Xbox giving them their games, but they're not giving us their games, right? So like, why are we doing that? Why are we giving PlayStation stuff if PlayStation's not giving us stuff, right? Now that, hey, I think the same fucking day there's like a trade. Gears of War and Helldivers 2, don't they launch on the same day?
Yep.
Yeah, that's like, hey, it's a trade. It's a fucking trade.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we got
26.
We got Helldivers 2, and let me tell you guys, this game is fucking fun. So I admittedly haven't played it much after the first like month or couple weeks after launch, but we had a blast, dude. We had a blast playing Helldivers 2. It is a fantastic
about 50
game.
Hours in. I have about 50 hours in. So
I don't know how many, probably 25, 30, something like that for me. I'm assuming, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's absolute fantastic game, and it's a great place for it on Xbox. Absolutely great place for it on Xbox. So looking forward to that, man. But what do you think, man? Is Helldivers PlayStation is going third party?
They are, of course they are. And then again, this has got nothing to do with full slate. This has got nothing to do with day and date. None of us are running around claiming that's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is the stuff we talked about. Hiroki flat out said it.
Stepping stones.
Stepping stones, baby steps. They're not going to flip the switch. That's never going to happen. But the facts are the facts. There is nothing, especially from the multiplayer side, a game like this does not detract from PlayStation. Everybody who's bought Helldivers 2 on PlayStation, they've capped. Like they're not going to sell PlayStation 2s just for Helldivers, or PlayStation 5s for Helldivers 2. PlayStation 2s. No, they're definitely not selling PlayStation 2s anymore. But they're not going to sell PlayStation 5s just because of Helldivers 2. So there's nothing here but money to be made for PlayStation and for Arrowhead. So this makes all the sense in the world to do this at this point. And eventually, again, like I said, I eventually do believe we'll start seeing single player games like a Spider-Man 2018. How many PlayStation 5s are they selling right now because Spider-Man 2018 is over there? Or God of War? Not very many at this freaking point, right? So why not put them on Switch 2? Why not put them on Xbox, right? and make some more money for the people who didn't get to experience them. Or there's a whole group of gamers that love to double dip and get achievements on Xbox because they own both the Xbox and the PlayStation. There's no downside to PlayStation to start doing it this way. Again, I'm not saying they're doing what Xbox is going to do. I will never said that. I've been the one saying, it's going to take Sony a long ass time. They're not even doing PC day and date yet. It's going to take Sony a long ass time to get to that part of the equation. Like I said, I'm very shocked they haven't had their PC launcher out yet, because I think that's really what they're waiting on the PC side, so they can take try to take all the profits up front. But man, this makes sense. This is what we've been talking about. Again, if you listen to Hiroki Totoki, if you listen to the new management at Sony, this is kind of what they said they're going to do. And that includes Xbox. And obviously, Mav, the biggest thing I take away from this, and this has been a question, the days of PlayStation looking at Xbox as a direct competitor, I think, are fading. Do I think that some of PlayStation and some of Sony probably still do see Microsoft and Xbox as competitors? Yeah, I think there probably still is a part of them that do, but I think that is slowly fading as they watch what Xbox is becoming right now, Mav, and how Xbox is positioning itself within the industry. They don't see it that way anymore. And so it's just another platform to go make money on. Again, I don't think they're going to do day and date. I don't think we're going to see them all of a sudden doing that kind of shit. But, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months after a game launches, do I think we start seeing some more games, including single player games, show up on other platforms, including the Switch 2 and potentially the next Xbox? Absolutely. And for all the people that were out here screaming that PlayStation is going to 1000% block their games, if Xbox makes a hybrid console that plays Steam, that they're going to block their games off of the Steam so they can't be played on that Xbox console. No, they're fucking not. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're going to take that money and laugh all the way to the bank. So, it's a good day. It's a good day. Helldivers 2 is a great game. If anybody's wondering, Helldivers 2 as a PvE co-op, multiplayer only. There is no campaign. It is straight up multiplayer. Would you want to jump in? I'm sure you all have seen the clips, but if you're wondering from hands-on experience, those clips that people do are real. From the time that Matt, I've got 50 hours. Matt says 25, 30 hours. I think Steele's got 60, 80 hours in. Steele's done with the game. He's not going to go back to it again. He's had enough. But those clips and the experience of Helldivers 2 is real. Like, those clips are stuff that happens on the regular basis. That's the best part about the game, is you don't know what kind of crazy situations you were going to run into. My God, some of those end runs, Mav, with you, me, Jasper, and Steele trying to get to the ship and having to hold off the hordes at the ship, like, just insane. Just absolutely laughing, fighting for our lives, calling out where shit's coming from, dropping ordnance in the wrong spot and blowing up your team. It is like an action flick. It is the closest thing to, obviously, just Starship Troopers, name your movie. It is exactly like that. Those clips are real, and it is a great game. And if you haven't tried it and you've been on the ropes, but now it's coming to Xbox, so you want to try it for $40, go get it. It's well worth it. It's so much fun. It really is.
Yeah. It's
even playing with randos. It's fun.
Polished, like, it's a unique engine too that they made with it. Like, just a great fun multiplayer game.
Yeah.
It also, like, the Starship Troopers game that came out. It's the first person, kind of similar in a lot of ways, obviously.
Sure.
Give that. Sure. You guys don't sleep on that game. It's really fun too. I don't. It didn't take off like Helldivers did or anything like that.
No.
But it's pretty good.
And I haven't played since the updates, man. They've had so many updates in Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
Like what I'm seeing now in the clips with the new aliens and shit that they've got, I'm like, what is going on? They got like giant worms in the sky that shoot lasers and people are riding on them and shit. I'm like, what are we doing? It looks crazy. It looks even more fun now. So
what do you think could be next from them, from PlayStation to go to Xbox?
Well, I mean, technically
speaking, they don't really have many marathons.
Yeah, marathon.
Eventually,
technically, maybe. If maybe
fair games, I guess. if it happens.
I think that's dead. I think that's dead.
Yeah, they didn't officially cancel that one yet, right?
No, but Jade left the studio.
Right. The matter of
I think
time.
it's dead. I think it's a matter of time. I don't. I really think, Mav, that one of their older single player games, I think a Spider-Man could show up.
Yeah.
I do think Spider-Man makes the most sense. Like, they have made so much money off of 2018 that if they just, again, for anybody who has not bought it over there, doesn't own it on PC, and is an Xbox only, and again, there's still 30 million plus Xbox users. They drop a 2018 into Xbox and sell, I don't know, 1 million copies. Like, yeah, bro. Like, yeah.
What about like a
it's just extra
collection?
cash.
Drop it as a collection.
They could. I see them being very selective still, and I still see them spacing the shit out. But could they? Sure, they could. But I do see 2018 as a possible. I do see Spider-Man as probably the biggest possible.
Yeah.
In my eyes. Right? Because it would make Marvel happy too as well. Kind of like the MLB. I mean, they're not twisting Sony's arm like the MLB did, but it would make Marvel happy to see them do it too as well. It would strengthen that relationship they have with Marvel. Now, I've heard there's some shit going on with the movies or something. I caught wind of it that they potentially are giving back the IP. I don't know how true that was. I don't know if that was just bullshit. But I think it would be smart for them to do it. I don't know out of their other stuff coming up. I don't see any of they're so far behind on single player games right now. They're so far out. Neil Druckmann just came out this week and said he's stepping away from the production of the TV show. Thank goodness. Like, oh God, that guy. To focus on Intergalactica, but he's talking about the writing of Intergalactica. So it sounds like Intergalactica is still in the writing phase. Like, they're still writing the story, because he said he needs to focus on the writing as well as the production side of Intergalactica. Yo, I mean, we could be talking that game could be 2+ years out too, 3+ years. Next gen, it could be PS6.
Yeah, their pipeline's still very like shallow, man. Like, I mean, Death Stranding 2 just hit, which, you know, I've been seeing the clips of that game, and like, it just looks incredible, you know, as far as graphics and stuff go. The first one was gorgeous. But that one we also know is going to end up going other places eventually as well. Kojima owns the rights to the whole franchise and stuff. So,
speaking of Kojima, man,
OD,
bro, like, what do you think? Like,
I don't know if they're going to cancel that one.
There's smoke.
Yeah,
there's smoke, but like,
I don't know if they want to piss off Kojima. It's like Phil's been working so hard to try and get those relationships in Japan and stuff.
You know
and
how
like
expensive that shit's gonna be, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, again, we're talking about. That's the other one I was thinking about too. I totally forgot to bring up when I asked.
I was thinking about that.
We'll be. I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see on all this shit. But that one I had questions on too. I was like, oh man, here we go.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I know, Susa. There was some word out there, but again, I would take that as right now as light smoke, because there's so much mass confusion going on about what's been canceled, what hasn't, and there's still some stuff that haven't been announced, obviously, like Contraband. So, but we'll have to wait and see. I would bet against it though, that they pull the rug on that one. That would suck for all the horror fans for sure. Anyways, sorry, didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
you're good, man. I'm just curious about that too. Like, it popped in my head. My next question regarding the Xbox layoff, and going back to this, is Phil Spencer himself has come under the gun a lot on social media and tweets. I've seen a lot of Phil hate regarding these moves and all this kind of stuff. People asking for his resignation and for him to retire. There was also rumors that he was going to retire after next gen launch, which they've come out and said no. But I mean, they're not going to.
Of course they.
I mean, they're not going to say he's planning to do that, guys. I mean,
Mav, it was 4 games. It was only 4 games.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So who knows what. He's had a super long tenure for a gaming executive already.
Yes. And
like,
he's coming up on a retirement age, like actual retirement age.
So, I mean, would that make sense? Yeah, I wouldn't. It doesn't necessarily mean anything as like, hey, Xbox is in a horrible place. Like, he's grown the brand and grown so much with the size of the or just Xbox in general, like throughout his tenure and stuff. So it cemented a lot of things for him. I think a lot of the hate also comes from a lot of this is what I was saying earlier. Is need to stop doing interviews because a lot of interviews like earlier this year, like yeah, Everwild looks great, and then now it's canceled. You know what I mean? Things like that. We've had. We're not a third party publisher. You know, the next year we're only putting 4 games. And then now it's like, hey, we've decided we're putting everything. You know what I mean? So it's like it's this constant thing about him moving the needle along, or the voice is going to be whatever their current plans are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whenever they talk, they're going to be discussing it like, hey, this is what's best for Xbox, obviously, because that's what they need to do. Is they're not going to say we're doing this, but I think it's going to suck. You know, I mean, they're really got to be behind whatever they do, because that's what they're doing. So, the PR speak behind it. I will say this: he's been more blunt than most when they've had failures, in the past.
Sure.
In some regards, but on interviews like with Redfall and those other kind of situations. But
he's the only CEO that talks.
Right. That's the thing is like maybe it's not the best, to be putting stuff out there when things are so dynamic, right? And answering so many questions when things change so often. But yeah, I have seen a lot of Phil. Hey, do you think it's warranted?
Oh boy. I mean, yeah, I guess from the people that I have okay. Let me be very, very clear about this, right? You guys have listened to me for years. So my stance on Phil has not changed. My stance on Phil has not changed. Okay.
My Phil on
To
Phil
me,
is the same.
yeah. His legacy for me is cemented because if it wasn't for him, Xbox would be a memory, in my opinion, at this point. Xbox would not exist today if it wasn't for Phil. I think they would have shuttered, sold off, and it would have been done, and Microsoft would have gone on its way. So for me, his legacy is cemented. How this is ending, for me personally, does take some shine off of that legacy, personally, because I've said it before, I still wish they were competing, right? And
Yeah.
if the power has been taken away from him, and again, this is me personally, again, my opinion, not anything else. My opinion is if I was in his shoes and they took the power away from me, if that's truly what's happened and they took my baby away from me, I would have retired and left. And I would have said good luck. Right? So that's just how I look at it. I've also stated all along, I understand the people that are extremely upset with Xbox as Xbox fans that have supported them for decades, or just were fans in general of Xbox, because what they sold in the beginning of the generation to what they've become now are two completely different things. So if you were excited for what Xbox was doing, you were excited for all the times that Phil's came out and said, we're buying these studios for exclusives for you who are in Game Pass, wherever Game Pass is, all the stuff that he said. If you bought into that, and that's why you owned an Xbox, right, wrong, or indifferent, that exclusivity mattered, and suddenly 180 before the generation is halfway through, or I should say halfway through generation. We don't know how long it's going to be because we don't know for sure when things are coming out. Let's just say halfway through the generation, complete 180 on you. And suddenly it's, oh, we're just doing 4 games, even though a lot of us said it's not going to just be 4 games, all that kind of stuff. I have understood your anger. And if you are angry at Phil, abso-freaking-lutely, because at the end of the day, he is still the head and the figurehead of Xbox in his position. He is taking money from Microsoft Corporation, the same people that, again, a lot of us believe are actually running the ship right now for Xbox and making a lot of decisions without Phil's input or making Phil to make whatever. He's still taking that money. So he is the head of Xbox. He's the head of Microsoft Gaming. He is the person that everybody knows. So I understand why people are upset with him. He has said a lot of things, like you said, Mav. We've talked about this too. It's a double-edged sword. I always appreciated that they wanted to be within the community, that they wanted to be customer-facing, the most customer-facing big corporation that you'll probably ever see. even if it was because they had to, because they were in third place and they were really trying to change the dynamic and they were trying to change their image, and Phil made that decision early on to be that way. I thought that was dope. However, it cuts both ways. And we saw that when stuff starts going sideways, you've got a lot of interviews, you got a lot of Phil saying a lot of things that turned out, like you said, Mav, to maybe they were true when he said them, and maybe he believed them when he said them, but all of a sudden they weren't anymore the case. And people can go back and see all those interviews. People clip them, people put it out there, and it's Phil. It's constantly Phil. So I understand why people are extremely mad at Phil. I also understand from the standpoint, Mav, when these big cuts happen, it's always the little people that get hit. The little people, the devs, while I've said this industry's bloated and there's probably a lot of devs that, obviously probably need to be cut at this point because the AAA space is so out of whack. Why is it out of whack, Mav? Because the higher ups at the top made piss poor decisions in this industry, especially in the AAA space, especially from these big publishers. And that includes Phil, that includes Sarah, that includes Matt Booty, that includes all of them at the top. But they never take a cut, Mav. They never get hit, or very rarely do you see that happen. So I understand also why people are mad, especially after this week with him, because the decision makers aren't getting hit. Decision makers are probably going to get bigger bonus checks out of it this year because they're saving the shareholders money, which means more profits for the company, which in turn usually means more bonus checks. So they're probably going to get a bigger bonus check. My ire this week, Mav, with the closure and the games getting canceled is Matt Booty. For a while, I defended Matt Booty and said, give him time. There were some emails that came out during ABK that showed a different side of Matt Booty. And I was like, all right, well, maybe Matt Booty's got that killer instinct. Maybe he is that dude behind the scenes. But at this point, Mav, Matt Booty, at the bare minimum, out of that top group of decision makers at Xbox, Matt Booty has been running these studios, Mav.
Yeah.
Matt Booty has been in charge of these projects that were taking years on years beyond what they were supposed to get out. Part of it was the pandemic. That's why I kind of forgave him for a while. But some of these latest ones, Mav, that's on Matt Booty. If you're going to say that they weren't hitting deadlines or this project wasn't looking as good as it was supposed to be looking by this point, that's Matt Booty. And that responsibility falls upon that man's head because he was in charge of these studios. He should be exiting stage left as well, along with all these devs at the bare minimum. So yeah, I get it. I do get the ire. Do I think ultimately for me personally, is Phil's whole reputation destroyed? No, like I said, I think he's cemented because I don't think we'd be talking about Xbox at all right now without him. But I do think for me, some of the shine is off of how this is all ending on his watch. Again, whether he's handcuffed or not, he's still there collecting a paycheck. It's under his watch how this is going down. And personally, I don't like it, right? Again, I understand business, all that good shit. We've talked about it a billion times. I can remove myself from that equation and say, yeah, no, I get it. That, hey, money-wise, you guys are going to make a lot of money doing it this way. But for me personally, how Xbox, how we thought they were going to compete, yeah, this is under his watch, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I think the main thing has been like how long, like the early announcements for these games.
Yeah. Right.
And then not seeing a lot of them either ever now or just come to get released in like a timely manner, right? And I don't like we could call out Matt Booty for that for sure, right? Because that was ultimately his job. But then he always goes up to the boss because Matt Booty's got to answer to Phil. So it's like things happen. I'm not like obviously. This isn't just a Phil decision with all these layoffs and all this other kind of stuff. It's a part of being with Microsoft and a part of how big they are with Microsoft now and the changing landscape and the industry and all that kind of stuff. Ultimately, when I look at what I'm getting now as an Xbox gamer comparatively to what I was getting when Phil took over, it's a massive net positive for me.
Sure.
So, as far as marketing promises not delivering on things and all these other kind of things, we can pinpoint, pick apart, we can call out potential lies or just things that changed if they weren't lies or whatever, right? But ultimately, I just look at where I am as a gamer, what what they're telling me the future of the brand is, and what I see coming soon, and what they've been delivering this year. Um, and for me overall, I'm like, well, hey, I mean, what more really can I ask for right now? Yeah, I could ask for it. I could ask for Perfect Dark and that Zenimax Online game. I sure as hell can ask for that, but it's not happening. But as far as comparatively to other ecosystems and stuff, like still giving me way more than anybody else that I'm interested in at a better price and also for more access. So I'm excited for the future of the brand. I think Phil's led them in that direction through a lot of turmoil and a lot of craziness, including situations and times like this. And these are maybe some of the toughest times for them to get through, to get to where they're going. And this is also the times when a lot of the decisions about what they are going to be and what they are change the most. So it's tough to say 100% what's going to happen in the future. But as it sits right now, I'm still really pleased just because of the overall amount of games they're making. Right? Game Pass is still amazing. The amount of access I have to on PC, on Xbox, on these new devices that are coming out, the cloud, all this other kind of stuff is stuff that didn't exist before Phil, took over, right? To think Xbox has 40 plus projects in development, right? Tell me that in 2016, I wouldn't have believed you, right? So all these kind of things, I look at the even just roadmap coming out later this year, Outer Worlds 2, Tony Hawk 3 and 4 still coming, Ninja Gaiden 4 is still coming, right? A new Call of Duty again is still going to be hitting Game Pass as well.
Couldn't be.
Gears of War Reloaded. We had Oblivion as a surprise this year. We had, Avowed hit early this year.
I hope Oblivion saved Fallout 70 or Fallout 3 remake. I sure hope it's saved.
They had the potential game of the year hit Game Pass day and date this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of people liking a lot of the other games have been hitting Game Pass day and date. Like, I know a lot of people like the Alters and a lot of these other kind of games too. There's not a lot for me to be upset about, unless I pick those specific things that just happened. Like, overall, yeah, these are bad times. But if you step away and I look back at like, how is this really affecting me as a gamer? Like, I have 2 less games to look forward to than I already was looking forward to, and that sucks. But ultimately, I'm still going to be looking forward to a lot more. So, net positive for me there, and that's just kind of how I look at it. I don't know, like, it sucks, but I'm not like sitting there raising torches and all these other kind of things and stuff that I see a lot of people doing online. I was more upset before, and maybe it's because my habits have changed and stuff from gaming and stuff, but I was more upset before with the Ghostwire Tokyo, or not Ghostwire Tokyo, but Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin stuff that happened, because that was just kind of out of the blue, and it was like, what's going on? We just, like, they had some good games that just came out, and they were working on more projects. Redfall obviously wasn't a good game when it launched, but we ended up having fun with it over time, and we knew what that studio was capable of. But at that time, where I was as a gamer, I was like, what the fuck? Why are we closing these studios? As far as studio closures right now, it's just the initiative, right? Which sucks, but I haven't ever played a game made by them, so it doesn't really affect me that much in that kind of way. So overall, it sucks. I'm still looking forward to all that Xbox has to offer. Phil Spencer's still overall net positive for me. I don't think Xbox would exist without him. And I really don't think that we would have all the stuff that we're getting to look forward to without Phil Spencer there as well. So I'm more worried about after he does retire, what's going to happen. And when these moments like this happen, or let's say Satya decides to move on or whatever, and there's new CEO of Microsoft, and there's a new head of Xbox, or a new CEO of Microsoft Gaming, right? Like, what are the changes going to be at that point? Is that when they're just only have the storefront, they stop making games or whatever, you know? Because a lot of the moves that they're making now is to help establish the storefront and grow it with the features and all these other kind of stuff. If they achieve their goal and really become the dominant storefront across devices everywhere, then what is to stop them from doing what Steam did originally in Valve and just kind of stop making games? You know, that would be the long term. Don't want that to happen, you know. But right now, I don't think that's a concern to really have when they have so much that they're working on. So we'll see, man. But ultimately, net positive for me with Phil. We'll see what happens in the future. I think the other weird thing, Pong, that I've seen with discussion about some of this, and I don't know how you feel about this specifically because I haven't really talked to you about it. But there was one particular developer that strangely lashed out at a couple of people that are synonymous with the Xbox community. This is a famous developer, Chris Avellone. Is it Avellone? Avalone? I don't even know how to say his name. Avellone? Yeah, Chris Avellone.
Yeah, I think it's Avellone. Yeah.
He's synonymous with Fallout and other games in the past. He had lashed out specifically at two people. Which I thought personally, I thought it was weird because it's like I don't get why when this happens, you go and you target two people that have just been talking about Xbox or whatever. But I want to read this because I want your thoughts on it and see what you think. Let's see if I can find it. Bear with me. Oh, really? No. my wife's blowing her nose, guys. Let's see here. All right. Here we go. Chris Avellone. I've always said Avellone. I don't know how to say it.
Okay.
He says,
I think it's Avellone.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
We'll see. Sending good thoughts to those affected by the bizarre Microsoft layoffs and hope you find new jobs soon. As for mouthpieces like Jez Corden and Klobrel that thrive like remoras on the underbelly of Xbox news, you two can fuck right off, you pathetic shills. Followed off by, for the record, and as showcase of their integrity, both were staunch supporters of various Xbox titles that were clearly in trouble, but then did everything they could to spin and bury any trace of bad news. One example avowed. Just tell the truth, being a mouthpiece won't save you when the rest of the body dies. This seems like personal or something, man. Like, I don't know what to make of this, but like, here we have a developer that's very famous in the industry. Planescape Torment, Fallout 2, Fallout New Vegas, Divinity, Original Sin 2, Prey, Into the Breach, Dying Light 2. You know, somebody's worked on some KOTOR 2, Jedi Fallen Order, like just tons of things that he's worked on, right? Why the target towards writers of being positive about Xbox? Yeah, I don't really understand this. I don't know if you saw this or maybe you have a different take on it. Like, why is he mad at Jez and Klobrel?
Okay. Listen, there's more to Chris Avellone, right?
Yeah.
He was falsely accused. He was falsely accused back in 2020 of sexual misconduct with former employees. He sued them for libel and won. They settled
I've seen
out,
that.
and then admitted that he never did anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for a fact because I didn't have a chance to search a lot whether or not Jez had made some comments about that or whether Klobrel had made some comments about that time frame. Because to me, yes, it did sound personal, Matt. Now, that was my first guess, is that they had made comments about him. And obviously, you know, he has every right to be pissed if that's what happened. Now, again, I didn't get a chance to look. The only other thing I could think of is that he is obviously very in tune with the community around here, and he obviously is paying a lot of attention to what's going on with Xbox. Maybe I don't know if there was ever bad blood about how he left Xbox, because when the accusations happened, he was actually working for Techland, and Techland, they agreed mutually for him not to be working on their games anymore as a writer. So it had nothing to do then. Maybe there's bad blood with Xbox still, and that he obviously has something to say about that. I don't know, but this did sound personal, and I think that he's in tune with. Maybe he's just extremely passionate that he doesn't like what Microsoft is doing within the industry. There's a lot of people like that, and what Xbox ultimately did with buying up the studios and all that kind of stuff. Maybe he has some friends that were affected through all of this, purchasing it as well. And he doesn't like the fact that there are a couple people, and he just happened to name, because at the beginning of it, he's talking about all of a group of people who, maybe he considers bootlickers for Xbox, and then just went on to name Jez and Clobriel. Maybe he just really had a passionate, like, hey, these guys enabled Xbox to do what they do. And it's people like them that, that gets the community to all back what Xbox is doing. And then we wind up in situations like today where there's a bunch of layoffs and there's a bunch of cancellations and closures, and that should never have happened. But yeah, he is obviously a very opinionated person. I did think it was weird how he did go after Jez and Clobriel, but there must be something there, man. There must be something there, because
it doesn't make sense to blame people for being positive about Xbox now Xbox has all these layoffs.
But there's toxic positivity, right? That we've heard that.
Yeah, but that's got to come from within, not the fan base or reporters just reporting on stuff.
I understand what you're saying as well. I understand what you're saying as well. Again, I thought it was weird. And I was like, okay, why just go after Jez and Clobriel? And I thought he could have explained himself better if there is something more to it, because it felt just like a general blow up, like a general melting down.
Like, hey, fuck you two guys for being positive about Xbox for all these years. It's just fucking weird.
Fuck everybody, but specifically you two motherfuckers. And they he used that. Like,
Clover's just a fan account.
Yeah. Right. Correct.
I mean, so it's like, who has more of a negative impact on the success of Xbox? Right? People that post negatively about Xbox all the time, or people that post positively about Xbox? And Jez does both, right? But if you're to say who would have mostly a negative impact on the business that Xbox has done, I would say it's generally not the people that have been more positive about Xbox. It's been the people that are just constantly shitting on it all the time that would have more of a negative impact on the overall identity and excitement around the brand, as they're taking away the feeling that people have to even be excited for the things, because all of a sudden everybody's telling them everything sucks. But if you have somebody saying, hey, this game looks pretty cool. Oh, you are fucking going way out there and making sure that people think that this game is good. How fucking dare you? You're going to kill Xbox. I bet you in 4 years, there's going to be massive layoffs across all of Microsoft, and it's going to be your fucking fault for being excited for this game. What a fucking load of horse shit.
Yeah.
I just got to say, it was weird. It's weird energy. I just saw it, and for people to go against positive talk towards gaming as an excuse for fucking layoffs is fucking horse shit. Look at go and you can blame Phil, you can blame Matt Booty, you can blame Xbox themselves, but don't go out there and fucking blame the people that are just being excited for the fucking games. I just don't get it.
To your point, Matt, to your point, like, if he is, and he's obviously around the community enough to recognize somebody like Clobriel, especially, right? That, I mean, again, then the counterpoint would be, that's two people, and if you just even took all the people that you could be considered overly positive about Xbox versus the negativity, because obviously, again, we've had this conversation. I totally believe there's an Xbox tax. The negativity that's been against Xbox, not just this generation, but going all the way back to last generation. So basically a decade's worth. if you looked at the number of people on that side of the ship versus the handful that are been if you wanted to call it overly or toxic positive about Xbox, bro, it's not even close. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
not,
what I'm
it's
saying. Like, you're gonna go
right,
and blame
right.
the few
No,
that are like,
I agree
actually,
with you there.
like
Absolutely.
it's just weird, man. Like, yeah, these
That's why I thought it was
people,
really
how
personal.
dare them be positive about something? It's their fault that things happen because they didn't force change at Microsoft for being negative, like 90% of the other fuckers out there. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? Like, there's been so
No,
much
and this
backlash from the biggest industry people towards Xbox regarding a lot of the stuff that they've been doing, which I think most of it's like completely unwarranted. And then you have people that are actually just reporting on some positive news or being excited for stuff, and you go after them. Anyway, it's just weird energy. I don't know this guy. I know that he's a famous developer because he's, I've
you
seen,
worked on Knights of the Old Republic.
yeah,
Dude,
I've
bro, he's
played
big time writer.
games, played games
His
he's worked
writing
on,
is
but
amazing.
but I think he's
Yeah.
fucking weird now, and I just,
Well, no, I get it. Like I said, I want to know if there's some backstory because there could be backstory with
Yeah.
everything that kind of happened to him. There could be backstory specifically. Again, I don't
yeah.
know.
And what is he
But
targeting
I agree.
Avowed for? Like, I don't, yeah, like toxic, like positivity about Avowed. Yeah, Avowed's a good
Yeah.
game. Maybe it didn't sell as well as they hoped, but like,
It
I
was
liked
very
it.
disappointing at the end of the day. I had 80 hours in, but it's very disappointing at the end of the day. And
Right.
it
It's
is
just,
an example of
that's
some
not
of the
their
problems.
fault.
But anyways, right.
You
And
know what I mean?
this
Like,
idea, no, and this idea that somebody like Clobriel or Jez, even together, are going to have some massive impact that's going to change how
Yeah.
Microsoft does business. Okay, well,
it's delusional.
fuck off. That ain't the case, and that's not going to happen, as we have seen. Because if they were actually listening to the fan base, they would be competing 1-for-1 with Sony. But obviously, they don't give two shits about the fan base, about the core fan base, and about anything else happening. So yeah, this idea that those two people alone, or even like the handful of people you could point to as overly positive Xbox fans, bro, they're not gonna make no difference. Satya is not gonna give a two shits about what they say.
No.
Or what. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Dumb.
it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, I agree.
I just wanted your opinion on that because it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
jumped out at me from somebody like him who is a famous developer to just randomly attack two Xbox community guys, kind of like that is a little strange energy for me. But anyway,
Yeah,
man,
no, yeah.
it's been an interesting. This was like PM in the PM, but reverse because I was
I
hosting,
know.
I guess, and everybody was
Of course.
busy, I guess. But
As you should.
what else is there? I mean, that to talk about. I mean, we've had all this has been dominating the news. Like we've had layoffs, we had, some exciting news. I talked about like Call of Juarez and Helldivers 2 going to Xbox. Call of Juarez being announced. What do we have anything to look forward to coming soon? Are you looking forward to anything soon, like with gaming? Like,
no, this month.
what's the next
no,
thing?
I mean, I'll play Tony Hawk obviously when it comes out. Since it's gonna be in Game Pass. But I'm trying to remember what else is showing up this month.
I mean, August is a big month because you have Gears of War Reloaded, right?
Sure.
I don't
There's
remember
a bunch
when
of
Borderlands maybe around then as well. I think.
Well, yeah, I'm not doing Borderlands, so again, that's been ruined for me. So
What happened with Borderlands?
Randy's comments. Oh, you weren't. Come on, you had to know Randy's comments.
Yeah.
If
Randy
you were a
went
true
off the
fan, you'd find a way to spend $80.
Yeah,
right?
I saw
if you're
that.
a true fan of Borderlands, you'll find a way. Bro, I'm done.
So you're not gonna get it now?
For a sale.
Okay.
No.
It'll be on sale within a couple months.
Well, he claims that they're not going to do those sales anymore. Blah blah blah.
Oh, that'll be on sale.
I'll get it at a key shop. Again, I will find it, but I don't care. I have enough to play, and I am standing on business on this one. Randy, I've defended Randy and his stupid shit for a long ass time. You guys know that. I've made a lot of fun of him, but again, pretty harmless shit from Randy. This one pissed me off enough where I'm again, not that it fucking matters. There's going to be a billion people.
Are we finding out that game developers are really arrogant a lot of times?
Oh, we've known this for a fucking ever. This is Mav, I've talked about this. They do believe we had it again this week. A Blizzard developer actually came out and tried to say people don't understand how hard these times are for us when things like these layoffs happen. As if they're the only ones in the world that go through this shit, man. I
Right.
kid you
Yeah.
not. They are in some fucking bubble and they think that they are special and that nobody else has to worry about families when they lose their jobs or anything like that. Literally, this guy did a book on how bad it is for the industry. You guys work in a volatile industry. None of you thought you were walking into some solid ass industry. None of you. You all knew what you were walking into. You all knew you had to have your head on a swivel, and it is no different than any other industry out there in the world. But yet they act this way. Yes, we have known for a very long time that there are, not all of them, but there are groups of developers who literally do think, and especially some of the big boys that do think their shit don't stink, man. They just do. They think they're above it. Like Randy just had to keep his mouth shut. All he had to say, Mav, was, I don't know. That was the first part of his response. I don't make that decision.
Right.
That was the first part of his response. And then he could not help himself.
Right.
And he had to say, but if it is $80, if you're a true fan of Borderlands, you'll find a way to get it. Fuck out of here, Randy. Fuck out of here, man. That shit.
I remember that
bullshit,
happening.
bro.
Yeah, I forgot all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bullshit, bro. So yeah, no, I mean, there's a ton of shit coming up, Mav. I've just bought so much, and there's just so much out there now. But yeah, no, I don't. I mean, Outer Worlds 2, I'm super excited for. Right, Outer Worlds 2 is going to be big. I love the first one. In fact, I'm probably going to re-download and go back and play it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I don't know. No, I can't name anything off the top of my head because I've been in the middle of so much shit right now. But good news is EA's upper management thinks that Battlefield should get 100 million players.
Oh. Okay.
That was what else happened this week.
Yeah.
They're expecting Battlefield to get 100 million players. They want it to be the next Fortnite Call of Duty. Just like that. Just like that, Mav. Just like that. That's how it's going to work.
We'll see.
And you wonder why this industry, the AAA space, is so effed right now. You wonder.
Yeah. It's
Thank God for AA and indies.
delusional executives.
Oh, non-gaming executive.
Yeah.
Not just absolute non-game. There are intelligent executives like Strauss. Strauss is not a gamer. He flat out admits he's not a gamer, but he's super intelligent and he gets the core basics when it comes to gaming, and he gets the gamer. Right now, I don't agree with all of his decisions. Again, I think they should be making more games, but they don't. But anyways, he gets the core, obviously. But there are just some very clueless people at the heads of WB, obviously, over at Ubisoft and our favorite family over there. And obviously at EA, they've had a whole string of pretty clueless leaders who don't get gaming at all and don't get gamers at all. At all. And they're all in trouble. WB, Ubisoft, and EA. EA is okay. They've been okay, but they lost that FIFA. They thought they were going to be okay without the FIFA license.
Yeah.
Bad decisions, bros. Bad decisions.
Yep. I think like for me, Tony Hawk's probably next one. Looking forward to, but like I'm curious how different it's going to be than 1 and 2 remastered. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we'll see.
And why is 1 and 2 not in Game Pass yet?
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't even realize it because I already had bought it when it came out. So
right, no, this is something I've been talking about. What are we doing? Why are 1 and 2 not in there? I don't understand.
Yeah, that
this
is weird.
Release schedule for Activision, bro.
Yeah, who's pulling the strings on that decision too? You know, like
I think the price increase is coming for Game Pass. That's the next big blow, I think, and I think then they're going to drop the Activision catalog. Say, oh, we're giving you more value, which you are. I get it, but yeah, I think that's what they're holding back.
How many more do they have? Sucks. I mean, the rest of the Call of Duties, they have Tony Hawk.
They've got the prototype. They've
360 games.
Yep, they got the 360 games, but the prototype had the HD upgrade, so technically Xbox One. They're supposedly getting licenses back on a bunch of this shit, so we'll see if that happens. Right? Obviously, they could do, but they could do a bunch of the 360 games for sure. But they got a pretty good. They got the Spyros, they got the crashes. I mean, we've gotten some of the crashes now, but they got more. They got a ton they could do.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man. Well,
Mhm.
what a week. You know what won't be $80, by the way?
What?
Perfect Dark.
Hey, dad jokes. Terrible dad jokes. Too soon. Too
Too
soon,
soon?
man. Too soon. But you're right. You're right. It won't be.
Xbox games are going to be $80 going forward. Switch games are going to be $80
too.
going forward. I assume PlayStation games
Variable
will
pricing,
too.
Mav. Variable pricing.
Ah,
Wu-Chang
variable.
Fallen Feathers is getting a lot of hype, Mav. I'm not going to play it because it's a Souls
Yeah.
game, but Wu-Chang is coming up too soon.
Yeah,
getting
that's
a
in
ton of hype.
August, I think, right? I'm pretty sure.
No.
No?
July 24th.
Oh,
Pretty
end of
sure.
this month.
Pretty
Nice.
sure. End of this month. Yep. But that's been getting a lot of hype from people. So because they got the demo. Where was the demo just being played at? The demo was just being played, and supposedly there was tons of crowds. So and loving it. So we'll see. Could be another Liza P situation that blows up, and that's coming to Game Pass. So a lot of people are going to play that shit.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. I will try that one. We'll see. I think they have. I think Xbox still has some positive announcements to make, and at Gamescom. So I think there will be some exciting things happening soon. We still have the Final Fantasy games as well. They're going to be the 16 already came out, right? But it's
Yes.
Intergrade is 7 Intergrade needs to release still.
Yes.
So yeah, and Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics is coming out. So yeah, we got so much to look forward to this year.
You heard no War of the Lions content?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Okay. All right.
All right, guys. Well, this was a fun speculation in the PM with Pong Soul and I. I thank you all for being here tonight, for getting through this horrible news week show where we had to run through a lot of this shenanigans. I'm sure Pong and Steel are going to have a field day with this on Saturday morning as well. But also this Sunday, there's somebody coming back, making his return, much like we just did recently, but he's been way even longer. Yep. ETK Blam and the Shop podcast is returning on Sunday. Pong Soul will be there. ETK will be there. Fuzzy Belvedere, I think, will be there. He should be there.
Should be there.
Yep. And also, I will be making an appearance there as well. This is actually, I think, my first guest appearance since returning back to podcasting as well. So looking forward to that. I hope you all have an absolute good time watching that show on Saturday. Shout out also to Danny Passion Official, hit us with a $2 super chat. The layoffs are just removing the losses. Xbox is thumbs up. I don't think that Zenimax Online game was going to be a loss. I maybe Perfect Dark also, but it is what it is, right?
We'll never know now.
Yeah, never know.
Never know.
Appreciate you, Danny Passion, and also everybody else for being here tonight on this episode. Hey, Pong Soul.
Yes, sir.
Tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Absolutely. Great to be back. Again, another Thursday night, second one in a row. Feels good. Everything's starting to feel right again. I was missing this midweek kind of show to cover things. And of course, Mav shows up. And like I said, everything falls apart. So, but we're here and we got a lot to talk about. And I think that's probably going to continue as we move forward, because Thursday nights were always exciting for that reason. Thank you all for showing up and again, supporting us. Even after our time off here on the Fun Speculation channel, you guys are all amazing. Nothing but love and respect to each and every single one of you, because you're not just here, you're everywhere else, watching a ton of different podcasts and supporting a big old community. And you guys are all a part of this as much as we are on these shows, because without you, we're just a couple dudes just talking gaming on Xbox Live, or we're through Discord by ourselves. So appreciate you all for being here. Good conversations in there. And again, on a tough week, it's not always fun, but it is fascinating, at least to me. And again, I put out that post today. This is a fascinating circus. This industry never stops giving. Again, ups, downs, and everything in between. So appreciate y'all joining in. You guys know how to find me, Pong Soul, everywhere. Follow me, I'll follow you back. Otherwise, starting to get back into kind of a regular rotation now, like Mav was talking about. So Saturday morning, of course, Steel and I will be live, God willing, 3+ hours on Living Split Screen, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. And yes, we are going to get into it. Steel and I have been on opposite sides of a couple topics recently, and we're gonna have a couple more this weekend as well. And it's been fun. Last weekend we had a whole opening to the show where we didn't even start our intros because we got into a conversation about Xbox and about exclusivity with the chat, and all of a sudden it turned into our first hour and a half was this discussion between him and I about exclusivity and all that kind of stuff again. That's what we do on Living Split Screen. It gets funky over there. It gets fun. We have a good time. So join us again, Living Split Screen, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Me and Steel Rain will get your morning started, take you into your afternoon, or your evening, depending on where you are in the world. Live, raw, and uncut. And then, like Mav said, the shop podcast is back. And I say that with a big old grand smile because PTK Blam, we've been on hiatus for a while, but PTK said it's time. So we're coming back. Like Mav said, Blam, Fuzzy, myself, and this dude right here joining us for a guest appearance to start it off. And what a week to come back for PTK. These shows write themselves. We don't have to do anything. It's going to be a fun, fast 2 hours as we kind of settle down and have this kind of, all this news kind of just level out over the next couple of days and kind of get our feelings out of the way. And then we'll talk about it on the Shop podcast. So be there 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. Arizona time. The Shop podcast is back Sunday. So be there for that. Otherwise, everybody, it is the golden age of gaming. So please, whatever you're playing, get out there, enjoy it. All of you in America celebrating the 4th of July, have a fantastic, safe 4th of July tomorrow. I hope you all have a great time. Don't blow your hands off. Please don't do that. I don't want to hear any or see anything posted that somebody in our community lost some fingers. So be careful, but have fun on the 4th of July. Have a great start to your weekend, and we'll talk to you all real soon. Matt, get us out of here. Play what you love what you play. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. Bye.
Choo-choo. Hey. Everybody, peace out. Take it easy. We'll see you next Thursday here on Fun Speculation. Bye.